Chapter 21. Economic Reforms. With the integration of the undead solidified and the city of Necropolis transformed into a beacon of unity, Rael knew that the next critical step was to stabilize and grow the economy of his expanding realm. The economic stability of his territories was essential for maintaining the peace and prosperity he had fought so hard to achieve. To accomplish this, Rael gathered a team of recruited experts, economists, traders, financial advisors, and scholars, tasked with implementing comprehensive economic reforms. The Grand Hall of Darkhold, now a central hub of administration and governance, was bustling with activity as Rael convened his council. The team included Lysandra, his chief strategist, Mira, the dwarf engineer, Alistair, the seasoned commander, and a diverse group of economic experts from across the realm. Their mission was clear: to analyze the existing economic conditions, identify inefficiencies, and implement reforms to stabilize and grow the economy. Rael addressed his advisors, his tone determined and focused. "We have achieved significant military victories, but to ensure lasting peace and prosperity, we must now turn our attention to the economy. A strong economy is the foundation of a stable and thriving realm. Let us work together to create a system that benefits all our people." The first step in the process was a thorough assessment of the existing economic structures in each region. This involved gathering data on currency usage, trade practices, taxation, and resource distribution. Rael's team of experts traveled across the territories, conducting surveys and meeting with local leaders to understand the unique economic challenges and opportunities in each area. One of the most pressing issues they encountered was the lack of a standardized currency. Different regions used various forms of currency, leading to confusion, inefficiency, and exploitation by unscrupulous traders. To address this, Rael decided to implement a unified currency system. "We need a single, stable currency that is recognized and accepted across all our territories," Rael stated during a council meeting. "This will facilitate trade, reduce inflation, and ensure fair transactions. Our people must have confidence in the value of their money." Mira, with her practical mind and experience in engineering and logistics, suggested, "We can use the resources from Necropolis and other regions to mint new coins. The design should reflect our unity and shared purpose." The council agreed, and soon, mints were established in key cities to produce the new currency. The coins bore symbols representing the diverse factions of Rael's coalition, a reminder of their unity and common goals. The introduction of the unified currency was accompanied by a public information campaign to educate the populace on its benefits and usage. In parallel, efforts were made to set up a central banking system to regulate money flow and prevent exploitation. This involved establishing regional banks overseen by a central authority, which monitored economic activities and ensured transparency. These banks provided secure places for people to store their money, obtain loans, and conduct financial transactions. To combat inflation and ensure fair distribution of resources, Rael implemented a series of decrees and regulations. These measures included setting price controls on essential goods, regulating trade practices, and cracking down on corruption. Special task forces were created to enforce these regulations and investigate cases of economic misconduct. One such task force, led by Alistair, uncovered a network of corrupt officials and merchants who had been exploiting the lack of standardized currency and the chaos of the post-war economy to amass wealth at the expense of the common people. The swift action taken by Alistair's team to dismantle this network and bring the perpetrators to justice sent a powerful message: corruption would not be tolerated in Rael's realm. "We must ensure that our economic reforms are fair and transparent," Rael emphasized during a council meeting. "Our people need to trust that their leaders are acting in their best interests. We will root out corruption and create a system that benefits everyone, not just the few." As the new economic policies took effect, Rael's team monitored their impact closely. They conducted regular audits and gathered feedback from local leaders and the populace to identify areas for improvement. The initial results were promising: trade became more efficient, inflation was brought under control, and the distribution of resources became more equitable. Lysandra, who had been instrumental in coordinating the reforms, reported to Rael, "The introduction of the unified currency and the establishment of the central banking system have significantly stabilized the economy. The people are beginning to see the benefits of these changes, and their confidence in our leadership is growing." Rael nodded, pleased with the progress. "We are on the right track, but there is still much work to be done. We must continue to listen to our people and adapt our policies to meet their needs. Our goal is to create an economy that is resilient, fair, and capable of supporting a thriving realm." One of the key aspects of Rael's economic reforms was ensuring the fair distribution of resources. This involved assessing the needs of each region and allocating resources accordingly. Agricultural regions received support to improve their farming techniques and increase productivity, while industrial regions were provided with the tools and raw materials needed to expand their manufacturing capabilities. In the agricultural heartland of the realm, Rael's advisors worked with local farmers to implement new farming techniques and technologies. This included the introduction of crop rotation, improved irrigation systems, and the use of enchanted tools to enhance productivity. Serafina's mages played a crucial role in this effort, using their magic to bless the fields and ensure bountiful harvests. Myra's engineers focused on improving infrastructure to facilitate trade and commerce. They repaired and expanded roads, bridges, and ports, ensuring that goods could be transported efficiently across the realm. The improved infrastructure not only boosted the economy but also strengthened the connections between different regions, fostering a sense of unity and interdependence. As the economy began to stabilize, Rael turned his attention to promoting trade and commerce. He established trade agreements with neighboring regions, creating new opportunities for merchants and traders. These agreements were designed to benefit all parties involved, ensuring that the flow of goods and services enriched the entire realm. The bustling market squares in key cities became vibrant centers of activity, with merchants from diverse backgrounds trading goods ranging from agricultural produce to finely crafted wares. The unified currency facilitated these transactions, and the central banking system provided a secure and reliable framework for economic activities. Rael also recognized the importance of education and innovation in driving economic growth. He established academies and training centers to nurture talent and encourage research in various fields, from agriculture to technology. These institutions attracted scholars and inventors from across the realm, creating a hub of intellectual and technological advancement. In the newly established Academy of Necropolis, scholars and students worked together on innovative projects aimed at improving the quality of life for the realm's inhabitants. One such project involved developing a new type of enchanted plow that could till fields more efficiently, significantly increasing agricultural productivity. As the economic reforms took root, the benefits became increasingly evident. The realm experienced a period of unprecedented growth and prosperity. Living standards improved, and people began to feel a renewed sense of hope and optimism for the future. Rael's efforts to stabilize and grow the economy were resounding success, but he knew that this was just the beginning. The foundation had been laid, but continued vigilance and adaptation were necessary to ensure long-term stability and prosperity. As the sun set over Darkhold, casting a warm glow over the city, Rael stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, reflecting on the progress they had made. The journey had been challenging, but their determination and unity had carried them through. Rael turned to Lysandra, who stood beside him. "We have achieved much, but there is still more to do. Our people deserve a future filled with opportunity and prosperity. We must continue to work together, guided by our vision for a united and thriving realm." Lysandra nodded, her expression resolute. "We will continue to build on our successes and address any challenges that arise. Our strength lies in our unity, and together, we can achieve anything." With the economy stabilized and corruption curtailed, Rael's focus shifted to promoting growth and development across his realm. He understood that long-term prosperity required more than just stabilization. It needed a vision for future growth, investment in infrastructure, education, and innovation, and fostering a culture of entrepreneurship. Rael gathered his council once more in the Grand Hall of Darkhold, now the nerve center of his administration. His advisors and experts were eager to discuss the next phase of their economic strategy. Rael addressed them with a tone of determination and optimism. "Our efforts have stabilized the economy, but now we must look to the future," he began. "We must create an environment where trade can flourish, where innovation is encouraged, and where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. Let us build on our successes and pave the way for sustained growth and development." One of the first initiatives Rael introduced was the improvement of infrastructure to facilitate trade and commerce. He knew that a well-connected realm was essential for economic prosperity. Mira and her team of engineers were tasked with repairing and expanding roads, bridges, and ports to ensure that goods could be transported efficiently across the territories. Mira stood before a large map of the realm, pointing to key routes and trade hubs. "We will start with the main trade routes, ensuring they are in top condition. This will allow merchants to move their goods quickly and safely. Additionally, we will upgrade ports along the coast to handle larger ships and increase trade capacity." Construction teams, comprised of human laborers, dwarf engineers, and even some undead workers, set to work. The roads, once plagued by potholes and in disrepair, were soon smooth and well maintained. Bridges were fortified, and new ones were built to connect previously isolated regions. Ports were expanded, their docks bustling with activity as ships from neighboring regions arrived with goods and departed with exports. The improvements in infrastructure had an immediate impact. Trade flourished as merchants took advantage of the improved routes, bringing a diverse array of goods to market. The bustling market squares in key cities like Necropolis, Darkhold, and the Free Cities became vibrant centers of activity, with stalls selling everything from exotic spices to finely crafted tools. Rael's next focus was on education and innovation. He believed that a well-educated populace was essential for long-term prosperity. To this end, he established academies and training centers across the realm, aimed at nurturing talent and encouraging research in various fields. The newly established Academy of Necropolis became a beacon of knowledge and innovation. Scholars, inventors, and students from all over the realm gathered there to study and collaborate on projects that would drive economic growth. The academy offered courses in a wide range of subjects, from agriculture and engineering to magic and commerce. One of the academy's most promising projects was the development of a new type of enchanted plow. Designed to till fields more efficiently, the plow used a combination of advanced engineering and magical enchantments to increase agricultural productivity. This innovation, spearheaded by a team of engineers and mages, had the potential to revolutionize farming practices across the realm. Rael visited the academy to observe the project firsthand. He watched as the team demonstrated the enchanted plow, its blades cutting through the soil with ease, leaving perfectly tilled rows in its wake. The efficiency and effectiveness of the plow were immediately apparent, and Rael felt a surge of pride and optimism for the future. "This is exactly the kind of innovation we need," Rael said, addressing the team. "Your work will help ensure that our people are well fed and our economy continues to grow. Keep pushing the boundaries of what is possible." Rael also recognized the importance of fostering a culture of entrepreneurship. He believed that encouraging small businesses and startups would diversify the economy and create new opportunities for his people. To this end, he introduced grants and incentives for aspiring entrepreneurs, providing them with the resources and support needed to start and grow their businesses. In the heart of Darkhold, Rael established the Chamber of Commerce, a hub for business activities and support. The chamber offered workshops, mentorship programs, and financial assistance to budding entrepreneurs. It became a bustling center of innovation and enterprise, where ideas were nurtured and transformed into successful ventures. One of the chamber's first success stories was a small bakery started by a young couple, Alara and Tomas. With a grant from the chamber, they were able to purchase high-quality ingredients and modern baking equipment. Their bakery, known for its delicious pastries and warm atmosphere, quickly became a favorite among the locals. Alara and Tomas's success inspired others to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. Shops, workshops, and markets flourished, each contributing to the economic vitality of the realm. The culture of entrepreneurship took root, fostering a sense of optimism and opportunity. To further stimulate economic growth, Rael forged trade agreements with neighboring regions. These agreements were designed to be mutually beneficial, promoting the exchange of goods, services, and knowledge. The increased trade not only boosted the local economies but also strengthened diplomatic ties and fostered a sense of regional cooperation. The bustling ports along the coast of Rael's realm became gateways for international trade. Ships from distant lands arrived with exotic goods, while local merchants exported their wares, showcasing the realm's craftsmanship and resources. The flow of trade brought wealth and diversity, enriching the cultural tapestry of the realm. Rael also encouraged collaboration between the different factions within his coalition. Joint ventures and cooperative projects became common, leveraging the unique strengths and expertise of each group. Humans, orcs, dwarves, and undead worked together on various initiatives, from infrastructure development to innovative technologies. One notable project was the construction of a grand library in Necropolis, a collaborative effort between scholars from all factions. The library, filled with books, scrolls, and artifacts from across the realm, became a center of knowledge and learning. It symbolized the unity and shared purpose of Rael's coalition, showcasing the power of collaboration. As the economic reforms took hold, the benefits became increasingly evident. Trade flourished, innovation thrived, and living standards improved. The realm experienced a period of unprecedented growth and prosperity, with new opportunities emerging for people from all walks of life. Rael's leadership and vision were instrumental in driving these changes. His commitment to fairness, transparency, and inclusivity resonated with his people, earning their trust and loyalty. The economic reforms not only strengthened the realm but also solidified Rael's position as a wise and visionary leader. One evening, as Rael walked through the bustling streets of Darkhold, he reflected on the progress they had made. The city was alive with activity, its markets filled with merchants and customers, its workshops humming with the sound of industry. The sense of optimism and opportunity was palpable, a testament to the success of their efforts. Rael stopped at a small bakery, drawn by the delicious aroma of freshly baked bread. Inside, he found Alara and Tomas, busy serving their customers. They greeted him warmly, their faces beaming with pride and gratitude. "Thank you, Lord Rael," Alara said, handing him a loaf of their finest bread. "Your support has made all the difference. We couldn't have done this without you." Rael smiled, accepting the gift. "It is your hard work and determination that have made this possible. I am proud of what you have achieved, and I am confident that there are many more success stories like yours to come." Chapter 22, The Merchant Guild. In the wake of the successful economic reforms and the stabilization of the realm, Rael turned his attention to trade, recognizing its critical role in fostering prosperity and unity. The idea of establishing a powerful merchant guild began to take shape, a central organization that would regulate commerce, ensure fair trade practices, and represent the interests of merchants across the territories. Rael knew that such a guild could boost trade, secure essential resources, and solidify the economic foundation of his realm. The Grand Hall of Darkhold was once again the setting for an important gathering. Key traders, economists, and representatives from various factions had assembled to discuss the formation of the Merchant Guild. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation and curiosity, as Rael stood before them to outline his vision. Trade is the lifeblood of our economy, Rael began, his voice resonating with authority and conviction. A strong, unified merchant guild will not only facilitate commerce but also ensure that essential resources are distributed fairly and efficiently. It will provide stability, security, and prosperity for all our people. Rael's words were met with nods of agreement and murmurs of approval. He then introduced Lysandra, who had been instrumental in drafting the initial charter for the guild. She stepped forward, holding a detailed document that outlined the structure, purpose, and regulations of the proposed guild. The Merchant Guild will be governed by a council of elected representatives, Lysandra explained. Each region and trade sector will have a voice, ensuring that all interests are considered. The guild will standardize trade practices, reduce tariffs, and eliminate barriers to commerce. Our goal is to create a seamless, efficient, and fair trading system. Mira, the dwarf engineer, added her perspective on the importance of infrastructure in supporting trade. Improved roads, bridges, and ports will facilitate the movement of goods and services. The guild will oversee the maintenance and expansion of these critical infrastructures, ensuring that our trade routes remain open and efficient. Rael emphasized the guild's role in securing essential resources. The guild will maintain strategic reserves of critical supplies, such as grain, building materials, and medicinal herbs. This will prevent shortages, stabilize prices, and ensure that our people have access to what they need, even in times of crisis. The traders and representatives were given the opportunity to voice their opinions and suggestions. A seasoned merchant named Eric stood up, his weathered face reflecting years of experience in the trade. This guild has the potential to revolutionize our economy, he said. But we must ensure that it remains transparent and accountable. Corruption and exploitation cannot be allowed to take root. Rael nodded in agreement. Transparency and accountability are paramount. The council will be subject to regular audits, and any signs of corruption will be dealt with swiftly and decisively. Our goal is to create a system that benefits all, not just a select few. With the charter finalized and the structure of the guild established, the next step was to elect the council representatives. Elections were held across the realm, with merchants, traders, and local leaders voting for candidates who would best represent their interests. The process was democratic and inclusive, ensuring that the council was a true reflection of the diverse economic landscape. Once the council was elected, they convened for the first time in Darkhold. The atmosphere was charged with excitement and a sense of purpose as the representatives took their seats around a large circular table. Rael, Lysandra, Mira, and other key advisors joined them, ready to guide and support the newly formed guild. The establishment of this guild marks a new chapter in our journey, Rael addressed the council. Together, we will build a thriving, interconnected economy that benefits all our people. The success of this guild depends on our commitment to fairness, cooperation, and innovation. The council members set to work immediately, focusing on the most pressing issues. One of their first tasks was to standardize trade practices and create a unified set of regulations. This involved drafting guidelines for pricing, quality control, and dispute resolution. The goal was to create a level playing field where merchants could operate fairly and efficiently. Eric, the seasoned merchant, played a crucial role in this process. His extensive knowledge of trade practices and market dynamics provided invaluable insights. We need to ensure that our regulations are practical and enforceable, he advised. Merchants must see the benefits of these changes and understand that they are designed to protect and empower them. The council also worked on reducing tariffs and eliminating barriers to commerce. By streamlining customs procedures and removing unnecessary restrictions, they aimed to make it easier for goods to move across the realm. This not only boosted trade but also encouraged economic cooperation between different regions. Mira and her team of engineers continued to improve infrastructure, ensuring that trade routes were well maintained and efficient. They focused on repairing and expanding roads, building new bridges, and upgrading ports. The improved infrastructure facilitated the movement of goods and services, making trade more accessible and profitable. In addition to these efforts, the guild established trade agreements with neighboring regions and distant lands. These agreements were negotiated with the goal of creating mutually beneficial partnerships that would open up new markets and sources of goods. Rael personally oversaw some of these negotiations, using his diplomatic skills to secure favorable terms for his realm. One such agreement was forged with a distant desert kingdom known for its exotic spices and precious gems. The delegation from the desert kingdom arrived in Darkhold, their presence marked by vibrant robes and intricate jewelry. The negotiations were held in the Grand Hall, with representatives from both sides discussing terms and conditions. We seek a partnership that will benefit both our peoples, Rael said, addressing the leader of the delegation. Your spices and gems are highly valued in our markets, and we can offer you agricultural produce, textiles, and crafted goods in return. The leader of the delegation, a dignified man named Hakim, nodded thoughtfully. Your proposal is fair and promising. We too seek to expand our trade and strengthen our ties. Let us work together to create a prosperous future for both our realms. The agreement was finalized, and the first shipments of spices and gems arrived in Darkhold shortly thereafter. The bustling markets of Darkhold, Necropolis, and other key cities were soon filled with the rich aromas of exotic spices and the dazzling sparkle of precious gems. The increased flow of trade enriched the economy and brought a sense of excitement and opportunity to the realm. The Merchant Guild also focused on securing essential resources and maintaining strategic reserves. They established warehouses and storage facilities in key locations, stocked with grain, building materials, medicinal herbs, and other critical supplies. These reserves provided a buffer against shortages and price fluctuations, ensuring that the realm remained stable and resilient. To oversee the fair distribution of resources, the Guild implemented a system of regional coordinators. These coordinators worked closely with local leaders and merchants to monitor supply levels and address any imbalances. Their efforts ensured that resources were allocated where they were needed most, preventing hoarding and ensuring that all communities had access to essential goods. As the Guild's initiatives took effect, the positive impact on the economy became increasingly evident. Trade flourished, merchants thrived, and the realm experienced a period of sustained growth and prosperity. The Merchant Guild, guided by its council and supported by Rael's vision, had become a powerful force for economic stability and development. Rael's efforts to establish the Merchant Guild were met with widespread acclaim. The Guild not only boosted trade and secured resources but also fostered a sense of unity and cooperation among the diverse factions of the realm. The success of the Guild was a testament to Rael's leadership and his commitment to creating a prosperous and inclusive future. One evening, as Rael walked through the bustling market square of Darkhold, he reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The market was alive with activity, merchants haggling over prices, customers browsing stalls, and the air filled with the sounds of commerce and laughter. It was a scene of vibrancy and vitality, a testament to the success of their efforts. Rael stopped at a merchant's stall, admiring a display of spices from the Desert Kingdom. The merchant, a cheerful woman named Lena, greeted him warmly. "These spices are some of the finest you'll find," she said, offering him a small pouch to sample. "Thanks to the Guild, we've been able to bring these treasures to our market." Rael smiled, accepting the pouch. "It is the hard work and dedication of merchants like you that make our realm prosperous. The Guild is here to support you and ensure that our economy continues to thrive." With the establishment of the Merchant Guild, Rael and his advisors turned their attention to leveraging its power to boost trade and secure essential resources for the realm. The Guild, now governed by a council of elected representatives, was poised to transform the economic landscape, creating a system that was efficient, fair, and prosperous. Rael convened a meeting with the newly elected council members in the Grand Hall of Darkhold. The council included representatives from various regions and trade sectors, each bringing unique perspectives and expertise. The atmosphere was one of determination and optimism as they prepared to discuss their strategies for boosting trade and securing resources. "We have laid the foundation," Rael began, addressing the council. "Now, we must build upon it. Our goal is to create a thriving economy that benefits all our people. To do this, we need to standardize trade practices, reduce tariffs, eliminate barriers to commerce, and secure essential resources. Let us work together to achieve this vision." The council members nodded in agreement, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. Their first task was to standardize trade practices across the realm. This involved creating a unified set of regulations that would ensure consistency, fairness, and efficiency in all commercial activities. Eric, the seasoned merchant who had been instrumental in drafting the Guild's charter, led this effort. "We need clear guidelines for pricing, quality control, and dispute resolution," Eric explained. "These regulations will create a level playing field for all merchants and protect consumers from exploitation. We must ensure that our rules are practical and enforceable." The council worked diligently to draft these guidelines, consulting with merchants, traders, and local leaders to ensure that the regulations were comprehensive and fair. The new rules covered a wide range of issues, from standardized weights and measures to fair pricing practices and mechanisms for resolving disputes. Once the regulations were finalized, the council launched a public information campaign to educate merchants and consumers about the new standards. Workshops and seminars were held in key cities and towns, where Guild representatives explained the regulations and answered questions. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with merchants appreciating the clarity and fairness of the new system. Next, the council focused on reducing tariffs and eliminating barriers to commerce. By streamlining customs procedures and removing unnecessary restrictions, they aimed to make it easier for goods to move across the realm. This would not only boost trade but also encourage economic cooperation between different regions. Mira, the dwarf engineer, played a key role in this effort. She and her team worked tirelessly to improve infrastructure, ensuring that trade routes were well maintained and efficient. They repaired and expanded roads, built new bridges, and upgraded ports, making it easier for merchants to transport their goods. One of the most significant projects was the expansion of the port at Necropolis. Once a symbol of darkness, the port was now a bustling hub of activity, with ships from across the realm and beyond arriving to trade. Mira oversaw the construction of new docks, warehouses, and loading facilities, transforming the port into a state-of-the-art center for commerce. "We've increased the capacity of the port tenfold," Mira reported to the council. "This will allow us to handle a much larger volume of trade and ensure that goods can be moved quickly and efficiently." The improved infrastructure had an immediate impact on trade. Merchants were able to transport their goods more easily and at lower costs, leading to increased commerce and economic growth. The bustling markets of Necropolis, Darkhold, and other key cities were filled with a diverse array of goods, from exotic spices and precious gems to finely crafted tools and textiles. The council also negotiated trade agreements with neighboring regions and distant lands. These agreements were designed to be mutually beneficial, promoting the exchange of goods, services, and knowledge. Rael personally oversaw some of these negotiations, using his diplomatic skills to secure favorable terms for his realm. One such agreement was forged with a northern kingdom known for its high-quality timber and furs. The delegation from the northern kingdom arrived in Darkhold, their presence marked by the rich scents of pine and the soft rustle of fur-lined cloaks. The negotiations were held in the Grand Hall, with representatives from both sides discussing terms and conditions. "We seek a partnership that will benefit both our peoples," Rael said, addressing the leader of the delegation. "Your timber and furs are highly valued in our markets, and we can offer you agricultural produce, metals, and crafted goods in return." The leader of the delegation, a stoic man named Bjorn, nodded thoughtfully. "Your proposal is fair and promising. We too seek to expand our trade and strengthen our ties. Let us work together to create a prosperous future for both our realms." The agreement was finalized, and the first shipments of timber and furs arrived in Darkhold shortly thereafter. The increased flow of trade enriched the economy and brought a sense of excitement and opportunity to the realm. Through the Merchant Guild, Rael also ensured that essential resources were distributed fairly and efficiently. The guild maintained strategic reserves of critical supplies, such as grain, building materials, and medicinal herbs, to prevent shortages and stabilize prices during times of crisis. These reserves were stored in warehouses strategically located across the realm, ready to be deployed whenever needed. To oversee the fair distribution of resources, the guild implemented a system of regional coordinators. These coordinators worked closely with local leaders and merchants to monitor supply levels and address any imbalances. Their efforts ensured that resources were allocated where they were needed most, preventing hoarding and ensuring that all communities had access to essential goods. One such coordinator, a diligent woman named Alara, was responsible for overseeing the distribution of grain in the agricultural heartland. She worked tirelessly to ensure that farmers received fair prices for their produce and that surplus grain was stored in the guild's reserves. "By maintaining these reserves, we can prevent shortages and keep prices stable," Alara explained during a council meeting. "This not only protects consumers but also ensures that farmers have a reliable market for their crops." The guild's efforts to secure and distribute resources proved to be a resounding success. During a particularly harsh winter, when several regions faced the threat of food shortages, the guild's reserves were deployed to provide relief. The timely distribution of grain and other essential supplies helped stabilize the situation and prevent widespread hardship. As the Merchant Guild's initiatives took effect, the positive impact on the economy became increasingly evident. Trade flourished, merchants thrived, and the realm experienced a period of sustained growth and prosperity. The guild, guided by its council and supported by Rael's vision, had become a powerful force for economic stability and development. Rael's efforts to boost trade and secure resources were met with widespread acclaim. The guild not only facilitated commerce and ensured fair distribution of resources but also fostered a sense of unity and cooperation among the diverse factions of the realm. The success of the guild was a testament to Rael's leadership and his commitment to creating a prosperous and inclusive future. One evening, as Rael walked through the bustling market square of Necropolis, he reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The market was alive with activity, merchants haggling over prices, customers browsing stalls, and the air filled with the sounds of commerce and laughter. It was a scene of vibrancy and vitality, a testament to the success of their efforts. Rael stopped at a merchant's stall, admiring a display of finely crafted tools from the Northern Kingdom. The merchant, a burly man named Hakon, greeted him warmly. "These tools are some of the finest you'll find," he said, offering Rael a beautifully crafted axe. "Thanks to the guild, we've been able to bring these quality goods to market." Rael smiled, accepting the axe. "It is the hard work and dedication of merchants like you that make our realm prosperous. The guild is here to support you and ensure that our economy continues to thrive." Chapter 23, Political Intrigue. Despite the remarkable progress Rael had made in unifying his realm and stabilizing the economy, not everyone was satisfied. As prosperity grew, so did ambition, and political intrigue began to bubble beneath the surface. Whispers of dissent, secret meetings, and conspiracies aimed at undermining Rael's authority started to spread. Rael knew that to maintain stability, he had to address these challenges head-on. Rael sat in the war room of Darkhold, surrounded by his closest advisors, Lysandra, Alistair, Serafina, and Grushak. The atmosphere was tense, charged with the gravity of the situation. They had gathered to discuss the growing unrest and to devise a strategy to quell the dissent threatening their hard-won peace. "We've received reports of secret meetings and whispered conspiracies," Lysandra began, spreading a map of the realm on the table. "These plots are driven by a mix of jealousy, ambition, and genuine grievances. If left unchecked, they could destabilize everything we've built." Alistair, ever the seasoned commander, nodded in agreement. "We need to act swiftly and decisively. Intelligence gathering is crucial. We must identify the ringleaders and understand their motivations. But we must also address legitimate grievances to prevent more people from joining their cause." Rael leaned forward, his expression determined. "Agreed. We'll take a multifaceted approach. Intelligence gathering, addressing grievances, and demonstrating the strength and unity of our leadership. We cannot afford to ignore any aspect of this threat." Serafina, her eyes sharp with focus, spoke up. "I can deploy my network of spies to infiltrate these groups. We'll gather information on their plans and identify key conspirators. But we must also show that we are willing to listen and address legitimate concerns. This will require diplomacy and empathy." Grushak grunted in agreement, his presence a reassuring reminder of their strength. "We need to show our enemies that we are united and strong. But we also need to remind our people that we care about their well-being. It's a delicate balance, but one we must strike." With their strategy outlined, they set to work. Serafina's network of spies, highly skilled in the arts of stealth and deception, began their infiltration. These agents moved silently through the shadows, attending secret meetings and gaining the trust of conspirators. They gathered crucial information on the identities of ringleaders, the scope of their plans, and the grievances fueling their dissent. Meanwhile, Rael took a more public approach. He announced a series of open forums and private meetings where citizens could voice their concerns and grievances. These forums were held in key cities across the realm, providing a platform for people to be heard. Rael's presence at these events was a powerful statement of his commitment to transparency and justice. One such forum was held in the bustling city of Necropolis, now a thriving center of commerce and innovation. The grand hall was filled with citizens from all walks of life, their faces a mix of hope and apprehension. Rael stood before them, his expression open and attentive. "Thank you all for coming," Rael began, his voice resonating through the hall. "I am here to listen to your concerns and to find solutions together. Our realm has achieved much, but there is always room for improvement. Your voices matter, and your grievances will be addressed." A merchant named Talia stepped forward, her face etched with worry. "Lord Rael, the recent tariffs on imported goods have made it difficult for us to compete in the market. We are struggling to keep our businesses afloat." Rael nodded, acknowledging her concern. "Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Talia. I will review the tariffs and work with the council to find a solution that supports our local businesses while maintaining fair trade practices." A farmer named Jarek spoke next, his voice filled with frustration. "The new irrigation systems have been beneficial, but the cost of maintaining them is too high. Many of us cannot afford the repairs." Rael listened intently, understanding the gravity of the issue. "Jarek, your concern is valid. We will look into providing subsidies for maintenance and repairs, ensuring that our farmers have the support they need to thrive." As the forum continued, more citizens voiced their concerns, and Rael addressed each one with empathy and a commitment to finding solutions. His willingness to listen and act upon their grievances began to diffuse some of the tension and win over potential adversaries. While Rael addressed the legitimate concerns of his people, Serafina's spies continued their covert operations. They identified several key conspirators, including a noble named Lord Cedric, who harbored ambitions of seizing power for himself. Cedric had been using his influence to gather support from disgruntled nobles and merchants, promising them greater power and wealth if they joined his cause. One of Serafina's most trusted spies, a woman named Alara, managed to infiltrate Cedric's inner circle. She attended his secret meetings, gaining valuable insights into his plans and the extent of his influence. Alara's reports revealed that Cedric was planning a coup, intending to strike during one of Rael's public forums. With this information in hand, Rael and his advisors devised a plan to counter the coup and bring Cedric to justice. They decided to use the upcoming forum in Darkhold as the setting for their trap. Rael would proceed with the forum as planned, while Alistair and a contingent of loyal soldiers would lie in wait, ready to act at the first sign of trouble. The day of the forum arrived, and the grand hall of Darkhold was filled with citizens eager to voice their concerns. Rael stood at the podium, his demeanor calm and composed, though he was acutely aware of the danger lurking in the shadows. As the forum progressed, he addressed various grievances, maintaining an air of confidence and authority. Meanwhile, Alara, disguised as one of Cedric's loyalists, kept a close watch on the nobles' movements. She noticed Cedric signaling to his co-conspirators, and her heart raced as she realized the moment was approaching. She discreetly signaled Alistair, who alerted the soldiers to prepare for action. As Rael responded to a question from a concerned citizen, Cedric made his move. He stood up, his voice ringing out with a feigned tone of concern. Lord Rail, while you speak of unity and prosperity, there are those who believe you have overstepped your bounds. We demand a change in leadership. At Cedric's signal, his co-conspirators moved to seize Rail. But Alistair and his soldiers were ready. They sprang into action, swiftly apprehending Cedric and his allies. The hall erupted in chaos, but Rail remained composed, his voice cutting through the din. Order! Rail commanded, his voice filled with authority. These men have conspired to undermine our unity and destabilize our realm. They will face justice for their actions. The swift and decisive action of Rail's forces quelled the attempted coup, and Cedric and his co-conspirators were taken into custody. The citizens in the hall, initially shocked by the events, began to murmur their support for Rail's leadership. They had witnessed firsthand his commitment to justice and his ability to protect the realm from internal threats. With the immediate threat neutralized, Rail turned his attention to addressing the root causes of the dissent. He continued to hold forums and private meetings, ensuring that legitimate grievances were addressed and that the voices of his people were heard. This approach not only quelled potential unrest but also strengthened the bond between Rail and his subjects. In the days that followed, Rail's leadership was widely praised. His willingness to listen, combined with his decisive action against conspirators, demonstrated his commitment to a just and prosperous realm. The arrest of Cedric and his allies served as a powerful deterrent to others who might consider plotting against the throne. With the immediate threat of dissent managed and the conspirators apprehended, Rail shifted his focus to strengthening his rule and solidifying the loyalty of his allies. Demonstrating strong and just leadership was essential to maintaining unity and preventing future unrest. Rail understood that he needed to reaffirm the trust of his people and allies, and showcase the tangible benefits of their collective efforts. Rail decided to host a Grand Council in Darkhold, bringing together leaders from all factions and regions. The purpose of the council was to reaffirm their commitment to unity and cooperation and to discuss further reforms that would enhance governance and ensure fair representation for all factions. The Grand Council would be an opportunity to demonstrate the strength and unity of their leadership. The Grand Hall of Darkhold was adorned with banners representing the various factions of the realm, each symbolizing the diversity and unity that had been achieved. The hall was filled with leaders and representatives, their faces reflecting a mix of anticipation and determination. Rail stood at the head of the assembly, flanked by his closest advisors, Lysandra, Alistair, Serafina, and Grushak. Welcome, everyone, Rail began, his voice resonating through the hall. We have gathered here to reaffirm our commitment to unity and to discuss the future of our realm. Together, we have achieved much, but there is still more work to be done. Our strength lies in our cooperation, and our success depends on our collective efforts. The council members nodded in agreement, their expressions serious and focused. Rail then presented a series of reforms aimed at enhancing governance and ensuring fair representation for all factions. These reforms included the establishment of regional councils, enhancing communication networks, and promoting transparency in decision-making processes. We will establish regional councils, Rail explained, pointing to a detailed map of the realm. These councils will consist of elected representatives from each region, ensuring that all voices are heard and that decisions are made with the input of those directly affected. This will promote a sense of ownership and responsibility among our people. Lysandra elaborated on the importance of communication networks. Effective communication is crucial for governance. We will enhance our communication networks, using both traditional and magical means, to ensure that information flows freely and efficiently across the realm. This will enable us to respond quickly to any issues and keep our people informed. Serafina, with her keen understanding of the importance of transparency, added, we will promote transparency in our decision-making processes. This includes regular public reports on the council's activities, open forums for discussion, and mechanisms for accountability. Our people need to trust that their leaders are acting in their best interests. The council members responded positively to these proposals, recognizing the benefits they would bring. Rail then took steps to recognize and reward those who had shown exceptional loyalty and service. Honors and titles were bestowed upon key figures, further solidifying their allegiance and encouraging others to follow their example. One such figure was Mira, the dwarf engineer whose contributions to infrastructure and trade had been invaluable. Rail honored her with the title of Master Architect, recognizing her expertise and dedication. Mira accepted the title with pride, her eyes shining with gratitude. Thank you, Lord Rail, Mira said, bowing slightly. It has been an honor to serve, and I will continue to dedicate myself to the prosperity of our realm. Rail's actions to recognize and reward loyalty extended to other key figures as well. Eric, the seasoned merchant who had played a crucial role in establishing the Merchant Guild, was honored with the title of Grand Merchant, acknowledging his efforts to boost trade and secure resources. Your leadership and vision have transformed our economy, Rail said, presenting Eric with a finely crafted medallion. You have shown what can be achieved through dedication and cooperation. We are grateful for your service. Eric accepted the honor with a humble smile. It has been a privilege to work alongside you, Lord Rail. Together, we will continue to build a prosperous future. Grushak, the orc chieftain whose warriors had been instrumental in securing victories on the battlefield, was honored with the title of Warlord Protector. This title recognized his strength and leadership, as well as his commitment to the unity of the realm. Grushak, your warriors have fought with unmatched bravery and honor, Rael said, presenting him with a ceremonial sword. You have shown that true strength comes from unity. I am proud to call you an ally and a friend. Grushak accepted the sword with a fierce grin. It has been an honor to fight by your side, Rael. We will continue to protect this realm and its people with all our might. The Grand Council also provided an opportunity for leaders to discuss and share their experiences, fostering a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect. Representatives from different regions shared their successes and challenges, offering insights and solutions that could benefit the entire realm. One evening, as the council gathered for a communal feast, Rael took the opportunity to address the assembly. The hall was filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation, a testament to the unity they had achieved. Tonight, we celebrate our unity and our shared vision for the future, Rael began, raising his glass in a toast. We have faced many challenges, but together, we have overcome them. Our strength lies in our cooperation, our resilience, and our commitment to the common good. Let us continue to work together, guided by our vision for a prosperous and united realm. The assembly responded with cheers and applause, their spirits lifted by Rael's words. The communal feast continued late into the night, with leaders from different factions mingling and forging stronger bonds of friendship and trust. The Grand Council concluded with a reaffirmation of their shared vision. The leaders pledged their continued support and cooperation, recognizing the importance of unity in achieving their goals. Rael's actions to strengthen his rule and promote inclusive governance had not only quelled dissent but also reinforced the unity that was crucial for the continued success of his realm. As the sun rose over Darkhold, casting a golden light over the city, Rael stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, reflecting on the events of the past few days. The realm was stronger and more united than ever, and he felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. Rael turned to Lysandra, who stood beside him. We have achieved much, but there is still more work to be done. Our people deserve a future filled with opportunity and prosperity. We must continue to work together, guided by our vision for a united and thriving realm. Lysandra nodded, her expression resolute. We will continue to build on our successes and address any challenges that arise. Our strength lies in our unity, and together, we can achieve anything. Chapter 24. The Goblin Uprising. Despite the unity and prosperity that Rael had painstakingly built across his realm, a new and unexpected threat began to take shape. The goblin tribes, historically marginalized and often overlooked, were stirring with discontent. Whispers of rebellion grew louder as a charismatic goblin leader, known as Kargoth the Red, rose to prominence, promising his people autonomy and wealth if they joined his cause. Rael first learned of the uprising through a series of urgent reports from his scouts and regional leaders. The goblins, who had previously been scattered and disorganized, were now launching coordinated attacks on settlements and trade routes, disrupting the fragile peace that had been established. Rael sat in the war room of Darkhold, surrounded by his most trusted advisors. The tension in the room was palpable as they reviewed the reports and maps detailing the recent attacks. Settlements had been raided, trade caravans ambushed, and fear was spreading among the populace. This uprising is more organized than any we've seen before, Lysandra said, her brow furrowed with concern. Kargoth the Red is no ordinary leader. He's managed to unite the goblin tribes under a single banner, and their attacks are strategic and well coordinated. Alistair, his face grim, nodded in agreement. They've been targeting key trade routes and settlements, causing maximum disruption. If we don't act quickly, this could destabilize the entire realm. Rael's expression was one of determined resolve. We cannot allow this rebellion to threaten our unity and prosperity. We need a multi-pronged approach. Gather intelligence on Kargoth and his plans, fortify our vulnerable settlements, and launch a decisive military campaign to neutralize the threat. Serafina leaned forward, her eyes sharp with focus. My mages can work on gathering intelligence. We have spies who can infiltrate the goblin camps and provide us with valuable information on their numbers, locations, and strategies. Grushak, the orc chieftain, grunted in agreement. My warriors will help fortify the settlements and protect the trade routes. We've faced goblins before. We know their tactics and how to counter them. Rael looked around at his advisors, feeling a sense of confidence in their collective abilities. We need to act swiftly and decisively. Let's prepare our forces and gather the intelligence we need. We will show Kargoth and his followers that we will not be intimidated. The council quickly set to work, each member focusing on their assigned tasks. Serafina's mages deployed their network of spies, who began infiltrating the goblin camps to gather critical intelligence. These spies, skilled in the arts of stealth and subterfuge, moved quietly through the forests and mountains, blending into the shadows as they observed the goblins' movements and listened to their plans. The intelligence reports soon began to flow in. The spies provided detailed information on the locations of the goblin camps, the strength of their forces, and Kargoth's plans for future attacks. It became clear that Kargoth was a cunning and strategic leader, using the terrain to his advantage and coordinating his forces with precision. At the same time, Alistair and Grushak led the effort to fortify vulnerable settlements and protect the trade routes. They deployed soldiers and engineers to build defensive structures, train local militias, and establish secure supply lines. The Orc warriors, with their strength and combat prowess, played a crucial role in these efforts, boosting morale and ensuring that the settlements were well protected. In one such settlement, the town of Rivertown, the townspeople watched with a mix of anxiety and hope as soldiers and Orc warriors worked together to build fortifications and train the local militia. Rael himself visited the town to oversee the preparations and reassure the people. Rael stood in the town square, addressing the gathered townspeople. "We are here to protect you," he said, his voice carrying a tone of confidence and authority. "Together, we will ensure that Rivertown remains safe from any threat. We are stronger when we stand united." The townspeople cheered, their spirits lifted by Rael's presence and the sight of the fortifications rising around them. The local militia, bolstered by the training and support from Alistair and Grushak's forces, stood ready to defend their home. As the preparations continued, Rael focused on the strategic aspect of the military campaign. He knew that to quash the uprising effectively, they needed to strike at the heart of the Goblin forces and take down Kargoth the Red. Using the intelligence gathered by Serafina's spies, Rael and his generals devised a plan to launch a series of targeted strikes against the Goblin camps, disrupting their coordination and weakening their resolve. The first strike was planned for a major Goblin camp located in the dense forests north of Necropolis. This camp served as a central hub for Kargoth's operations, housing a significant portion of his forces and supplies. Rael decided to lead the assault personally, demonstrating his commitment to the cause and his willingness to fight alongside his troops. On the eve of the assault, Rael gathered his forces in a clearing just outside the forest. The soldiers, a mix of humans, orcs, dwarves, and undead, stood ready, their faces reflecting a mix of determination and anticipation. Rael addressed them, his voice filled with conviction. "Tonight, we strike at the heart of the Goblin Rebellion," Rael said, his gaze sweeping over the assembled troops. "Kargoth the Red has sown fear and chaos, but we will show him that we are united and strong. Fight with honor, fight with courage, and fight for the future of our realm." The troops responded with a unified cheer, their morale boosted by Rael's words. As night fell, the assault began. The coalition forces moved swiftly and silently through the forest, using the cover of darkness to their advantage. Serafina's mages cast spells to enhance their stealth and disrupt the goblins' defenses, while Alistair and Grushak led the vanguard, cutting through the goblin sentries with precision. The attack on the goblin camp was swift and decisive. Rael's forces overwhelmed the goblins, their superior strategy and coordination proving too much for Kargoth's troops. The camp was soon in disarray, with goblins fleeing in panic or falling to the relentless assault. In the chaos of battle, Rael confronted Kargoth the Red. The goblin leader, a formidable warrior clad in red armor, fought fiercely, his eyes burning with a mix of rage and desperation. But Rael's skill and determination proved superior. With a final, decisive strike, Rael disarmed Kargoth and took him into custody. The capture of Kargoth was a significant blow to the Goblin uprising. Without their charismatic leader, the remaining Goblin forces began to falter. Rael's troops moved quickly to secure the area, rounding up the remaining Goblins and dismantling their operations. As dawn broke, the victorious coalition forces gathered in the clearing, their spirits high. Rael addressed them, his voice filled with pride and gratitude. "Today, we have shown that unity and strength can overcome any threat. We have protected our realm and secured a future of peace and prosperity. I am proud to stand with each and every one of you." The troops cheered, their voices echoing through the forest. The victory was a testament to their courage and determination, as well as the strength of their unity. With the immediate threat of the Goblin uprising quelled, Rael turned his attention to stabilizing the affected regions and addressing the underlying grievances that had fueled the rebellion. He knew that to ensure lasting peace, he needed to integrate the Goblin tribes into the realm and address their concerns. Rael initiated a series of meetings with Goblin leaders who had not joined the uprising, seeking to understand their grievances and find ways to address them. He emphasized the importance of unity and cooperation, offering the Goblin tribes a place within the realm where their rights and interests would be respected. Through these efforts, Rael began to build trust and foster a sense of belonging among the Goblin tribes. He implemented measures to ensure fair representation for Goblins within the regional councils, provided support for their communities, and promoted initiatives that encouraged mutual understanding and respect between the Goblins and other factions. With the immediate threat of the Goblin uprising addressed and Kargoth the Red captured, Rael and his advisors knew that the battle was far from over. The coordinated strikes had weakened the Goblin forces, but pockets of resistance remained, and the underlying tensions that had fueled the rebellion still needed to be addressed. Rael's strategy now focused on quashing the remaining Goblin forces and stabilizing the affected regions to ensure lasting peace. Rael convened a meeting with his key advisors in the war room of Darkhold. The atmosphere was intense as they discussed the next steps. Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak were all present, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the situation. We've dealt a significant blow to the Goblin uprising by capturing Kargoth, but there are still pockets of resistance, Rael began, his voice steady and resolute. We need to eliminate these threats and ensure that the Goblins understand that rebellion will not be tolerated. At the same time, we must address the grievances that led to this uprising. Lysandra nodded, her keen mind already formulating plans. We need to continue our intelligence efforts. Serafina's spies can help us identify the remaining leaders and strongholds. Once we have that information, we can plan targeted strikes to dismantle the rest of their operations. Serafina agreed. My mages will continue to gather intelligence. We'll also use magical surveillance to monitor their movements. This will give us the advantage we need to strike swiftly and decisively. Alistair, always the tactical thinker, added, we should also fortify our defenses and maintain a strong presence in the affected regions. This will prevent any resurgence of rebellion and show the Goblins that we are in control. Grushak grunted in approval. My warriors are ready to lead the charge. We've fought Goblins before, and we know their tactics. We'll crush any remaining resistance. With their strategy in place, Rael's forces moved swiftly to implement their plans. Serafina's spies continued their infiltration, gathering crucial information on the remaining Goblin leaders and their strongholds. They used a combination of stealth and magical surveillance to monitor the Goblins' movements and plans. The intelligence reports revealed several key strongholds where the remaining Goblin forces were concentrated. These strongholds were located in remote areas, using the natural terrain to their advantage. Rael and his generals devised a plan to launch coordinated strikes against these strongholds, using their superior knowledge and resources to outmaneuver and overwhelm the Goblins. The first target was a fortified camp deep in the mountains. This camp was a critical hub for the remaining Goblin forces, serving as a base for their operations and a refuge for those loyal to Kargoth. Rael decided to lead the assault personally, alongside Alistair and Grushak, to ensure a decisive victory. On the night of the assault, Rael's forces gathered at the base of the mountains. The soldiers, a mix of humans, orcs, dwarves, and undead, were ready and eager to bring an end to the rebellion. Rael addressed them, his voice filled with determination. Tonight, we strike at the heart of the remaining Goblin forces, Rael said, his gaze sweeping over the assembled troops. They have caused fear and chaos, but we will show them that we are united and strong. Fight with honor, fight with courage, and fight for the future of our realm. The troops responded with a unified cheer, their morale high as they prepared for the battle ahead. As the moon rose, casting a silvery light over the mountains, Rael led his forces into the fray. The approach was silent and swift, with the soldiers moving through the shadows to avoid detection. Serafina's mages used their magic to disrupt the Goblins' defenses, casting spells to create illusions and sow confusion among the enemy ranks. Alistair and Grushak led the vanguard, their combat prowess cutting through the Goblins' sentries with precision. The battle was fierce and brutal. The Goblins, though caught off guard, fought with desperation, knowing that this was their last stand. Rael's forces, however, were relentless, their superior strategy and coordination proving too much for the Goblins to handle. Rael himself fought at the front lines, his sword flashing in the moonlight as he cut down goblin after goblin. His presence on the battlefield was a powerful symbol of his commitment to his people and his determination to protect his realm. As the battle raged, Rael confronted one of the remaining goblin leaders, a fierce warrior named Gragnar. Gragnar snarled, his eyes filled with hatred. You may have captured Kargoth, but we will never bow to you, human. Rael met Gragnar's gaze with unwavering resolve. Your rebellion ends tonight, Gragnar. Surrender, and your people will be treated fairly. Continue to fight, and you will face the consequences. Gragnar roared in defiance, charging at Rael with his axe raised. The clash of their weapons echoed through the mountains as they fought, each strike and parry a testament to their skill and determination. In the end, Rael's superior training and resolve prevailed. With a final, decisive blow, he disarmed Gragnar and took him into custody. With the fall of Gragnar and the capture of the mountain stronghold, the remaining goblin forces began to crumble. Rael's troops moved quickly to secure the area, rounding up the remaining goblins and dismantling their operations. The victory was a significant blow to the rebellion, further weakening the goblins' resolve. In the days that followed, Rael's forces continued their campaign, targeting the remaining goblin strongholds and eliminating any pockets of resistance. The coordinated strikes, combined with the intelligence gathered by Serafina's spies, ensured that the goblins had no opportunity to regroup or launch further attacks. As the rebellion was quashed, Rael turned his attention to stabilizing the affected regions. He knew that to ensure lasting peace, he needed to address the underlying grievances that had fueled the uprising. He initiated a series of meetings with goblin leaders who had not joined the rebellion, seeking to understand their concerns and find ways to address them. One such meeting was held in the rebuilt town of Rivertown, where Rael had previously reassured the townspeople of their safety. Goblin elders and leaders, along with representatives from the human, orc, and dwarf communities, gathered in the town hall to discuss the future. Rael addressed the assembly, his tone respectful and conciliatory. We have faced difficult times, but it is my hope that we can move forward together. I am here to listen to your concerns and to find solutions that benefit all our people. We must work together to build a future of peace and prosperity. An elderly goblin elder named Grima spoke up, her voice filled with wisdom and sorrow. Our people have long felt marginalized and overlooked. We seek respect, fair treatment, and a place where we can thrive without fear. Rael nodded, acknowledging her words. Your concerns are valid, Grima. We will ensure that goblins have fair representation in the regional councils and that your communities receive the support they need. We will work together to promote mutual understanding and respect. The discussions were productive, with both sides expressing their grievances and working towards common ground. Rael's willingness to listen and his commitment to finding solutions began to build trust and foster a sense of belonging among the goblin tribes. To further integrate the goblins into the realm, Rael implemented initiatives to promote cultural exchange and cooperation. Joint projects and festivals were organized, where different communities could share their traditions and learn from one another. These efforts helped to break down barriers and build a sense of unity. As the weeks turned into months, the effects of Rael's efforts became increasingly evident. The goblin communities began to thrive, their leaders actively participating in the regional councils and their voices being heard. The cooperation between different factions strengthened the unity of the realm and promoted a sense of shared purpose. Rael's leadership during the Goblin Uprising had not only quashed a significant threat but also reinforced the unity and stability of his realm. By addressing the root causes of the rebellion and promoting inclusion and cooperation, he ensured that such uprisings would be less likely in the future. As the sun set over Darkhold, casting a warm glow over the city, Rael stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, reflecting on the challenges they had faced and the victories they had achieved. The realm was stronger and more united than ever, and he felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. Rael turned to Lysandra, who stood beside him. We have faced many challenges, but we have overcome them together. Our strength lies in our unity, and we must continue to work together to build a future of lasting peace and prosperity. Lysandra nodded, her expression resolute. We will continue to build on our successes and address any challenges that arise. Together, we can achieve anything. Chapter 25. Forging a Kingdom. With the Goblin Uprising successfully quashed and stability restored across his realm, Rael's vision of a united underworld kingdom began to take shape. The dream he had nurtured through countless battles, reforms, and diplomatic efforts was now on the brink of becoming a reality. As news of his successes spread, more factions expressed interest in joining his coalition, drawn by the promise of unity, prosperity, and security. Rael knew that expanding his alliances was crucial for solidifying his kingdom. He called upon his trusted advisors, Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak, to help plan a diplomatic campaign aimed at bringing new factions into their fold. They would travel to various territories, meeting with leaders of different races and showcasing the benefits of joining Rael's united kingdom. The first stop on their campaign was the mountainous region inhabited by the dwarves. Mira, the dwarf engineer who had become one of Rael's closest allies, accompanied them. The dwarves were known for their craftsmanship and engineering prowess, and their inclusion in the kingdom would be a significant boon. As they approached the grand city of Khazad-dûm, nestled deep within the mountains, Rael marveled at the intricate stonework and the sheer scale of the dwarven architecture. The city was a testament to the dwarves' skill and dedication. Mira guided them through the winding tunnels and grand halls, her presence a bridge between Rael's delegation and the dwarven leadership. They were greeted by King Thrain, the ruler of Khazad-dûm, in the throne room, a vast chamber adorned with precious metals and gemstones. King Thrain, a stout and formidable figure with a braided beard and piercing eyes, welcomed them with a mixture of curiosity and cautious optimism. Welcome to Khazad-dûm, Lord Rael, King Thrain said, his voice resonating through the hall. Mira speaks highly of you and your vision for a united kingdom. I am eager to hear what you have to propose. Rael stepped forward, his demeanor respectful yet confident. Thank you, King Thrain. It is an honor to be here. My vision is of a united underworld kingdom where all races and factions work together towards common goals, peace, prosperity, and security. By joining our coalition, the dwarves of Khazad-dûm will not only gain new trade opportunities and access to shared resources but also a seat at the table where decisions are made for the benefit of all. King Thrain listened intently, his expression thoughtful. Your achievements are impressive, Lord Rael. You have brought stability to a realm that has long been plagued by conflict. But the dwarves value their autonomy and traditions. How can we be sure that our way of life will be respected in this new kingdom? Rael nodded, understanding the dwarves' concerns. I assure you, King Thrain, that the autonomy and traditions of all factions will be respected. Our coalition is built on the principles of mutual respect and cooperation. Each faction retains its unique identity while contributing to the greater good. Together, we can achieve more than any of us could alone. Mira stepped forward, her voice filled with conviction. King Thrain, I have seen firsthand the positive changes Rael has brought to our realm. His leadership is wise and just. Joining his coalition will open new opportunities for the dwarves and ensure our place in shaping the future of the Underworld. After a lengthy discussion and deliberation, King Thrain agreed to an alliance. The dwarves of Khazad-dûm would join Rael's coalition, bringing their expertise and resources to the United Kingdom. The agreement was sealed with a ceremonial exchange of gifts, finely crafted dwarven weapons and tools for Rael, and enchanted artifacts from Necropolis for King Thrain. Buoyed by their success in Khazad-dûm, Rael and his advisors continued their diplomatic campaign, traveling to the territories of the orcs, goblins, and other underworld races. Each meeting presented its own challenges and required careful negotiation, but the message remained consistent: unity would bring strength, security, and prosperity for all. In the orc stronghold of Gorgoroth, Rael met with Warchief Brog, a towering figure with a fierce reputation. The orcs were known for their martial prowess and warrior culture, and their inclusion in the kingdom would significantly bolster Rael's military strength. Warchief Brog eyed Rael with suspicion as they met in the War Council chamber, flanked by his warlords. "Why should the orcs of Gorgoroth ally with you, Rael? We are strong on our own and have no need for the politics of other races." Rael met Brog's gaze with unwavering resolve. "Warchief Brog, the strength of the orcs is undeniable. But even the strongest can benefit from allies. Our kingdom is not about politics, it is about survival and prosperity. Together, we can defend against common threats, share resources, and create a future where our children grow up in peace." Grushak, who had fought alongside Rael in many battles, stepped forward to vouch for him. "Warchief Brog, I have seen Rael's leadership up close. He fights with honor and leads with wisdom. Joining his coalition will bring glory and strength to our people." After intense negotiations and a demonstration of mutual respect, Warchief Brog agreed to the alliance. The orcs of Gorgoroth joined Rael's coalition, adding their formidable warriors to the kingdom's forces. Rael's diplomatic campaign continued, with similar successes in the Goblin territories and among other underworld races. Each new alliance strengthened the kingdom, adding to its diversity and resources. The promise of mutual respect, shared prosperity, and collective security resonated with the leaders and people of these factions. As Rael's coalition grew, so did the logistical challenges of managing a diverse and expanding realm. Rael knew that to sustain the unity he had built, he needed to establish a robust governance structure that would ensure fair representation and effective decision-making. Returning to Darkhold, Rael called for a grand assembly of representatives from all allied factions. The assembly was tasked with drafting a constitution and establishing a centralized government that would uphold the principles of fairness, transparency, and accountability. The Grand Hall of Darkhold buzzed with activity as representatives from different races and regions gathered to discuss and debate the future of their united kingdom. Rael stood at the head of the assembly, his presence commanding attention and respect. "Welcome, everyone," Rael began, his voice carrying a tone of hope and determination. "We are here to lay the foundation for our kingdom, a kingdom built on unity, respect, and shared purpose. Our goal is to create a governance structure that ensures all factions have a voice and that decisions are made for the welfare of the entire realm." The assembly broke into smaller groups, each tasked with addressing specific aspects of governance, representation, law enforcement, resource distribution, and more. The discussions were intense and often heated, as representatives voiced their concerns and worked towards consensus. Lysandra, with her strategic mind, played a key role in guiding the discussions. "We need a balanced representation system that ensures all factions feel included and respected. This means creating a council with representatives from each faction, with decisions made through dialogue and consensus." Serafina emphasized the importance of transparency and accountability. "Our government must be open and transparent. Regular public reports, open forums for discussion, and mechanisms for accountability will build trust and ensure that our people feel connected to their leaders." The assembly worked tirelessly, drafting a constitution that outlined the principles and structure of the new government. The final document established a central council with representatives from each faction, a system of regional councils to address local issues, and mechanisms for ensuring transparency and accountability. With the successful expansion of alliances, Rael now turned his focus to establishing a robust governance structure that would manage the growing diversity and complexity of his realm. The challenge was to create a system that was fair, inclusive, and capable of making effective decisions. This required bringing together representatives from all allied factions to draft a constitution and lay the foundations for a centralized government. Rael called for a grand assembly in Darkhold, inviting leaders and representatives from every faction that had joined the coalition. The assembly was a testament to the diversity of the new kingdom: humans, orcs, dwarves, goblins, and other underworld beings, each bringing their unique perspectives and traditions. The Grand Hall of Darkhold was filled with a vibrant tapestry of cultures, united by a common purpose. As the representatives gathered, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and a sense of historic significance. Rael stood at the head of the assembly, flanked by his closest advisors, Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak. He began the proceedings with a speech that set the tone for their deliberations. Welcome, esteemed leaders and representatives, Rael began, his voice resonating through the hall. We are gathered here to create the foundation of our united kingdom. Our goal is to build a governance structure that ensures fairness, transparency, and accountability. A structure that respects our diversity and promotes the welfare of all our people. The assembly responded with applause, their faces reflecting a mix of hope and determination. Rael divided the representatives into committees, each tasked with addressing specific aspects of governance, representation, law enforcement, resource distribution, and more. These committees would debate, negotiate, and draft proposals that would then be discussed and ratified by the full assembly. Lysandra took charge of the Committee on Representation, guiding the discussions on how to ensure fair and balanced representation for all factions. The challenge was to create a system that recognized the unique needs and contributions of each faction while fostering a sense of unity. We need a council that reflects the diversity of our kingdom, Lysandra said, addressing the committee. Every faction must have a voice, and decisions must be made through dialogue and consensus. This will ensure that all perspectives are considered and that our governance is truly inclusive. The discussions were intense and often passionate, with representatives advocating for their respective factions. A human representative argued for proportional representation based on population size, while a goblin elder emphasized the importance of equal representation to prevent smaller factions from being marginalized. After lengthy deliberations, the committee agreed on a hybrid model. The Central Council would consist of two chambers, one with proportional representation based on population size, and another with equal representation for all factions. This bicameral structure would balance the interests of both larger and smaller factions, ensuring that all voices were heard. Meanwhile, Serafina led the Committee on Transparency and Accountability. She emphasized the need for open governance, where decisions were made in the public eye and leaders were held accountable for their actions. Our government must be transparent and accountable, Serafina said. We will establish regular public reports on the Council's activities, open forums for discussion, and mechanisms for accountability. This will build trust and ensure that our people feel connected to their leaders. The committee proposed a series of measures to enhance transparency, including public sessions of the Central Council, regular audits of government activities, and an independent oversight body to investigate any allegations of corruption or misconduct. These measures were designed to foster a culture of openness and integrity in the new government. Alistair and Grushak worked with the Committee on Law Enforcement and Defense, focusing on creating a unified system to ensure the security and stability of the kingdom. They needed to integrate the diverse military forces of the allied factions and establish a coherent legal framework to maintain order. We must have a unified command structure for our military forces, Alistair said. This will allow us to respond quickly and effectively to any threats. At the same time, we need a legal system that respects the traditions of each faction while upholding the rule of law. The committee proposed the creation of a central military command, with representatives from each faction overseeing their respective forces. This command structure would ensure coordinated defense efforts while allowing each faction to maintain its unique military traditions. On the legal front, they drafted a common code of laws that incorporated elements from the legal traditions of each faction, creating a system that was both inclusive and just. The discussions and negotiations continued for several weeks, with the committees working tirelessly to finalize their proposals. The atmosphere in Darkhold was one of intense collaboration, as representatives debated, compromised, and reached consensus on the key elements of the new governance structure. Finally, the day came for the full assembly to review and ratify the Constitution. The Grand Hall of Darkhold was filled with anticipation as Rael addressed the assembled representatives, his voice filled with pride and hope. Esteemed representatives, we have worked tirelessly to draft a constitution that reflects our commitment to unity, fairness, and shared prosperity, Rael said. This document is the foundation of our kingdom. It ensures that all factions have a voice, that decisions are made transparently and accountably, and that our people are protected and respected. Together, we will build a future where all our people can thrive. The representatives reviewed the Constitution, discussing and debating its various provisions. There were moments of contention, but the spirit of cooperation and mutual respect prevailed. After thorough deliberation, the Assembly voted overwhelmingly to ratify the Constitution. The Grand Hall erupted in applause as the Constitution was officially adopted, marking the birth of the united Underworld Kingdom. Rael felt a deep sense of fulfillment and pride. His dream of a united kingdom was now a reality, and the future looked bright. With the new government established, Rael's focus shifted to implementing the constitutional provisions and ensuring a smooth transition. The Central Council was convened, with representatives from each faction taking their seats and beginning their work. Regional councils were established, providing a forum for local issues to be addressed and ensuring that all voices were heard. Rael's leadership during this critical period was instrumental in guiding the transition. He emphasized the importance of unity and cooperation, encouraging representatives to work together towards common goals. His presence and commitment inspired confidence and trust, helping to solidify the new governance structure. The first sessions of the Central Council were marked by a sense of optimism and purpose. Representatives debated policies, made decisions, and worked collaboratively to address the challenges facing the kingdom. The atmosphere was one of constructive dialogue and mutual respect, reflecting the values enshrined in the Constitution. As the new government took shape, the kingdom began to thrive. Trade flourished, infrastructure projects were launched, and initiatives to promote education, healthcare, and economic development were implemented. The diverse factions, once divided by conflict and mistrust, now worked together towards a shared vision of peace and prosperity. Rael's vision of a united underworld kingdom was becoming a reality. The kingdom was stronger and more united than ever, and the future looked bright. As the sun set over Darkhold, casting a golden glow over the city, Rael stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. Lysandra joined him, her expression filled with pride and hope. "We have come a long way, Rael. The kingdom is flourishing, and our people are united. Your leadership has made this possible." Rael nodded, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "We have achieved much, but there is still more to be done. Our journey is far from over. We must continue to work together, guided by our vision for a united and prosperous realm. Together, we can overcome any challenges and build a lasting legacy of peace and prosperity." Chapter 26, The Final Battle. Rael's vision of a united kingdom had brought unprecedented prosperity and stability to the underworld, but it had also garnered the envy and resentment of those who saw their own power threatened. As his realm flourished, a coalition of rival lords began to form, each harboring ambitions of their own and unwilling to accept Rael's dominance. These lords, some of whom had previously been allies or neutral, united under a common cause, to topple Rael and dismantle his kingdom. Rael first learned of this coalition through his extensive network of spies and informants. Serafina's mages, who had perfected the arts of stealth and surveillance, reported on secret meetings and whispered conspiracies. The rival lords were gathering their forces, preparing for a decisive confrontation. The coalition was formidable, comprising seasoned warriors, powerful mages, and vast resources. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Rael convened an emergency council with his most trusted advisors in the war room of Darkhold. The atmosphere was tense, the stakes higher than ever before. "We have faced many challenges, but this will be our greatest test yet," Rael began, his voice steady and resolute. "The rival lords are uniting against us. Their goal is to destroy everything we have built. We must be prepared to meet them with all our strength and unity." Lysandra, ever the strategist, laid out a map of the realm, marked with the locations of the rival lords' territories and the estimated movements of their armies. Their coalition is vast, but their unity is fragile. Each lord has their own ambitions and agendas. If we can exploit their divisions, we can weaken their resolve. Serafina added, "Our spies have gathered valuable intelligence on their plans and strengths. We know their numbers, their positions, and their strategies. This gives us a significant advantage. We must use this information wisely." Alistair, the seasoned commander, nodded. "We need to prepare our forces and fortify our key positions. Our strategy should be to divide and conquer. We can use feigned retreats and surprise flanking maneuvers to disrupt their coordination. It's essential that we remain one step ahead of them at all times." Grushak, his expression fierce and determined, spoke up. "My warriors are ready. We've faced worse odds and emerged victorious. We will show them the strength of our unity and the valor of our warriors." Rael listened to his advisors, formulating a comprehensive strategy that would leverage their strengths and exploit the weaknesses of the rival coalition. They decided to gather their forces on the plains of Eldoria, a vast expanse that would be the stage for the epic confrontation. This location would allow for strategic maneuvering and the deployment of their diverse troops. In the days leading up to the battle, Rael and his advisors worked tirelessly to prepare. Messages were sent to all corners of the kingdom, rallying their allies and mobilizing their forces. The response was overwhelming. Soldiers, mages, and warriors from every faction, humans, orcs, dwarves, goblins, and undead, answered the call to arms. The sense of unity and shared purpose was palpable. Rael personally oversaw the preparations, ensuring that every detail was attended to. He visited the camps, speaking with the soldiers and boosting their morale. His presence was a powerful symbol of their shared commitment and determination. One evening, as the sun set over the bustling camp, Rael stood before his assembled troops. The light of the setting sun cast a golden glow over the sea of faces, reflecting the diversity and unity of his kingdom. "Warriors of the United Kingdom," Rael began, his voice carrying across the camp. "We stand at the brink of our greatest challenge. The rival lords seek to destroy what we have built, but they underestimate the strength of our unity and the power of our resolve. We fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of our realm. For our families, our homes, and our dreams. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we will prevail." The troops responded with a resounding cheer, their spirits lifted by Rael's words. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose was stronger than ever. They knew that the battle ahead would be fierce, but they were ready to face it together. As the day of the battle approached, Rael and his generals fine-tuned their strategy. They planned to use a combination of feigned retreats, surprise flanking maneuvers, and coordinated attacks to disrupt the enemy's cohesion and exploit their weaknesses. The key was to stay flexible and adapt to the unfolding battle, always keeping the rival lords off balance. The night before the battle, Rael gathered his closest advisors for a final briefing. The war room was filled with maps, reports, and tactical plans. The tension was palpable, but so was the sense of determination. "Tomorrow, we face a formidable enemy," Rael said, his tone serious but confident. "But we have the advantage of strategy, unity, and valor. We know their plans and their weaknesses. We will strike swiftly and decisively, breaking their will to fight. Stay focused, stay united, and remember what we are fighting for." Lysandra added, "We have identified key targets among their leaders. If we can eliminate or capture these targets, it will sow chaos and confusion in their ranks. This will be a critical part of our strategy." Serafina spoke next. "Our mages will provide support with spells to disrupt their formations and protect our troops. We will also use illusion and enchantment to create confusion and fear among the enemy." Alistair and Grushak discussed the deployment of their troops, ensuring that each faction's strengths were utilized to maximum effect. The orc warriors, known for their fierce combat skills, would lead the charge. The dwarves, with their expertise in engineering and fortifications, would hold key positions. The goblins, agile and cunning, would be used for flanking maneuvers and ambushes. The undead, resilient and tireless, would form the backbone of their defensive lines. As the meeting concluded, Rael looked around at his advisors, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and trust. "We are ready," he said simply. "Let's show them the power of our united kingdom." The dawn of the battle day arrived with a sense of anticipation and resolve. The plains of Eldoria stretched out before them, a vast expanse that would soon be filled with the chaos of war. Rael stood at the forefront of his army, his presence a rallying point for his troops. The rival coalition approached, their banners flying high, and their forces arrayed in a formidable display of power. The tension in the air was thick as the two armies faced each other, the outcome of the battle poised to determine the future of the realm. Rael raised his sword, signaling his troops to prepare for the clash. "For the kingdom," he shouted, his voice carrying across the plains. "For our future." The battle began with a thunderous clash of steel and the roar of warriors charging into the fray. The rival lords, confident in their numbers and strength, pressed their attack, seeking to overwhelm Rael's forces with sheer force. But Rael's strategy quickly became apparent. Feigned retreats lured the enemy into traps, where hidden troops sprang forth to strike from the flanks. Coordinated attacks disrupted their formations, creating openings for devastating counterattacks. Serafina's mages unleashed powerful spells, creating illusions that bewildered the enemy and protective wards that shielded their own forces. Alistair's disciplined command of the infantry ensured that their lines held firm, repelling wave after wave of enemy assaults. Grushak's orc warriors led fierce charges, breaking through enemy lines with unstoppable force. The resilience of the undead provided an unyielding defense, their tireless endurance a key advantage in the prolonged battle. As the battle raged on, Rael moved through the thick of the fight, his presence inspiring his troops and striking fear into the hearts of the enemy. He confronted one of the rival lords, a formidable warrior named Lord Thane, whose ambition had driven him to challenge Rael's rule. "You will not take this kingdom," Rael declared, their swords clashing in a fierce duel. "We fight for unity, for peace, and for our people. You fight only for yourself." Lord Thane snarled, his eyes filled with hatred. "You are a fool, Rael. Power is the only truth in this world, and I will take it from you." Their duel was intense, a clash of skill and will. But Rael's determination and the strength of his cause gave him the edge. With a final, decisive strike, he disarmed Lord Thane and took him into custody, signaling a turning point in the battle. As the day wore on, the rival coalition's forces began to falter. The coordinated strategies, the unity of Rael's troops, and the relentless assaults broke their resolve. One by one, the rival lords fell or surrendered, their ambitions crushed by the strength and unity of Rael's kingdom. By the time the sun began to set, the battlefield was littered with the remnants of the rival coalition's defeat. Rael's forces stood victorious, their banners flying high in the evening light. The victory was a testament to their unity, their strategy, and their valor. Rael stood amidst his troops, his heart filled with pride and relief. The greatest threat to his kingdom had been vanquished, and the future was secure. As he looked around at the faces of his allies, he knew that this victory was not just his, but theirs. Together, they had proven the strength of their unity and the power of their shared vision. The final battle had been won, but the journey of building a lasting legacy of peace and prosperity was just beginning. Rael was ready to lead his people into a future filled with hope, unity, and boundless potential. The dawn of the battle day saw the plains of Eldoria transformed into a massive staging ground. Tents and banners of the united Underworld kingdom dotted the landscape, and the air was filled with the hum of activity as soldiers prepared for the impending clash. Rael's army, a diverse coalition of humans, orcs, dwarves, goblins, and undead, stood ready to face the coalition of rival lords who sought to dismantle everything Rael had built. Rael stood atop a hill overlooking the plains, the sun rising behind him and casting long shadows over the assembled troops. His heart swelled with a mix of pride and resolve as he surveyed his forces. The final battle was at hand, and the outcome would determine the future of his realm. He knew that his strategy needed to be flawless, his leadership unwavering. Rael turned to his closest advisors, who had gathered with him. Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak were all present, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the moment. "Our success today depends on our ability to remain united and to execute our strategy with precision," Rael said, his voice steady and determined. "The rival lords are confident in their numbers, but we have the advantage of unity and superior tactics. Stay focused, follow the plan, and we will emerge victorious." Lysandra laid out the final details of their strategy. "We will begin with a feigned retreat to draw them in. This will allow us to create openings for our flanking maneuvers. Serafina's mages will use illusions and enchantments to create confusion and fear among their ranks. Alistair and Grushak will lead the main force, coordinating our attacks to exploit any weaknesses." Serafina added, "Our spells will disrupt their formations and provide protection for our troops. We have also prepared magical barriers to shield our forces from their most powerful attacks." Alistair and Grushak, seasoned warriors both, shared a nod of understanding. "We will hold the line and ensure that our forces remain disciplined and coordinated," Alistair said. "The orcs will lead the charge, breaking through their defenses with brute force." Grushak grinned, his eyes gleaming with the anticipation of battle. "We will crush them and show them the strength of our unity." As the sun climbed higher, Rael's forces took their positions. The rival coalition, a formidable assembly of seasoned warriors and mages, approached from the other side of the plains. Their banners flew high, their confidence evident in their ranks. The stage was set for an epic confrontation. Rael rode to the front of his army, his presence a rallying point for his troops. He raised his sword, its blade catching the sunlight. "For the kingdom," he shouted, his voice carrying across the plains. "For our future." The united army responded with a resounding cheer, their spirits lifted by Rael's rallying cry. The battle began with a thunderous clash as the rival coalition charged forward, seeking to overwhelm Rael's forces with sheer force. Rael's strategy quickly unfolded. The initial clash was met with a feigned retreat, drawing the rival lords into a carefully laid trap. As the enemy pursued, Rael's forces suddenly wheeled around, launching a coordinated counterattack. Serafina's mages cast powerful illusions, creating phantom armies that sowed confusion and fear among the enemy ranks. Alistair's disciplined command ensured that the infantry held their ground, repelling the enemy's advances with precision and resolve. Grushak's orc warriors led a fierce charge, their battle cries echoing across the plains as they broke through the enemy lines with unstoppable force. Rael moved through the thick of the battle, his sword a blur of motion as he struck down enemy after enemy. His presence on the battlefield was a powerful symbol of his leadership and determination, inspiring his troops and striking fear into the hearts of his foes. As the battle raged on, Rael confronted one of the rival lords, a cunning and ruthless leader named Lord Thane. Their duel was intense, a clash of skill and will. Thane's eyes burned with hatred as he swung his sword at Rael, seeking to end the battle with a single blow. "You will not take this kingdom," Rael declared, parrying Thane's attack and countering with a swift strike. "We fight for unity, for peace, and for our people. You fight only for yourself." Thane snarled, his face contorted with rage. "Power is the only truth in this world, Rael. And I will take it from you." Their swords clashed with a fury that sent sparks flying. The duel was a test of endurance and resolve, each combatant pushing themselves to the limit. Rael's determination and the strength of his cause gave him the edge. With a final, decisive strike, he disarmed Thane and took him into custody, signaling a turning point in the battle. The capture of Lord Thane sent shockwaves through the rival coalition. Their morale faltered as their leader was subdued, and Rael's forces seized the opportunity to press their advantage. Coordinated attacks and strategic maneuvers continued to disrupt the enemy's formations, creating openings for devastating counterattacks. Serafina's mages unleashed a powerful barrage of spells, shattering the enemy's defenses and creating barriers to protect their own troops. The illusions and enchantments further disoriented the rival forces, making it difficult for them to regroup and mount an effective resistance. Grushak's orc warriors, emboldened by their earlier success, led another charge, breaking through the enemy's lines with relentless ferocity. The resilience of the undead, tirelessly holding key positions, provided an unyielding defense that the enemy could not penetrate. As the sun began to set, the battlefield was littered with the remnants of the rival coalition's defeat. The coordinated strategies, the unity of Rael's troops, and the relentless assaults had broken their resolve. One by one, the rival lords fell or surrendered, their ambitions crushed by the strength and unity of Rael's kingdom. The dust settled, and Rael's forces stood victorious. The plains of Eldoria, once the site of fierce conflict, were now a testament to their triumph. The rival lords were defeated, their forces scattered, and their ambitions extinguished. Rael surveyed the battlefield, his heart filled with pride and relief. The greatest threat to his kingdom had been vanquished, and the future was secure. He knew that this victory was not just his, but theirs, the result of the unity, strategy, and valor of his diverse and dedicated allies. As the twilight descended, Rael addressed his assembled troops, his voice filled with gratitude and determination. Today, we have shown the world the power of our unity. We have defended our kingdom and secured our future. This victory is a testament to your courage, your resolve, and your unwavering commitment to our cause. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we will continue to build a future of lasting peace and prosperity. The troops responded with cheers, their voices echoing across the plains. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose was stronger than ever. They had faced the greatest challenge and emerged victorious, united in their commitment to the kingdom. Chapter 27, Peace Talks. In the wake of his decisive victory against the rival coalition, Rael's kingdom stood stronger and more united than ever. The battlefield triumph had not only secured the realm but also showcased the strength and resilience of the diverse factions under Rael's leadership. However, Rael knew that true and lasting peace required more than military might. It required the inclusion and cooperation of all remaining neutral factions. Determined to create a truly unified underworld, Rael set his sights on initiating peace talks to bring these factions into the fold. Rael called for a meeting with his trusted advisors in the Grand Hall of Darkhold. The hall, which had seen numerous councils and strategic discussions, was now the setting for a new chapter of diplomacy. Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak gathered around the large oak table, their expressions reflecting a mix of optimism and determination. "We have achieved a great victory, but our work is not done," Rael began, his voice steady and resolute. "There are still neutral factions that have not yet joined our kingdom. To ensure lasting peace and prosperity, we must reach out to them and show them the benefits of unity." Lysandra, ever the strategist, nodded in agreement. "We need to approach these factions with respect and understanding. Each has its own concerns and priorities. Our goal is to find common ground and demonstrate that their inclusion will benefit everyone." Serafina added, "Our recent success gives us a strong position, but we must also show that we value their independence and traditions. Diplomacy will be key in these negotiations." Alistair, with his experience in dealing with various factions, spoke up. "We should prepare a detailed presentation of our vision for the United Kingdom, highlighting the successes we've achieved and the opportunities that lie ahead. This will help us build trust and show that we are serious about their inclusion." Grushak, ever the warrior, offered a practical perspective. "We should also be prepared to address any concerns they may have about security and autonomy. Our alliances must be built on mutual respect and cooperation." With their plan in place, Rael and his advisors began preparations for the peace talks. They identified key neutral factions and arranged meetings in various territories, ensuring that each faction would feel valued and respected. The first stop on their diplomatic journey was the ancient forest of Ilaria, home to the enigmatic elven faction known for their wisdom and magical prowess. The elves had remained neutral throughout the conflicts, their focus on preserving their ancient traditions and protecting their homeland. Rael and his delegation traveled through the dense, mystical forest, guided by elven envoys who led them to the heart of Ilaria. The elven city was a breathtaking sight, with elegant structures woven seamlessly into the natural landscape, illuminated by soft, glowing lights. They were greeted by Elenara, the elven queen, whose presence exuded grace and wisdom. Her emerald eyes assessed Rael and his companions with curiosity and caution. "Welcome to Ilaria, Lord Rael," Elenara said, her voice melodic yet firm. "You have come a long way to speak with us. What brings you to our sacred forest?" Rael stepped forward, his demeanor respectful and sincere. "Thank you, Queen Elenara. It is an honor to be here. We have come to seek your alliance and to share our vision of a united kingdom where all races and factions work together for the common good. Our recent victory has shown the strength of unity, and we believe that by joining us, the elves of Ilaria can help shape a prosperous future for all." Elenara listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "We have watched your rise with interest, Rael. Your achievements are indeed impressive. But the elves value their independence and have long cherished their traditions. How can we be sure that our way of life will be respected in this new kingdom?" Rael nodded, understanding her concerns. "Our coalition is built on the principles of mutual respect and cooperation. Each faction retains its unique identity and traditions while contributing to the greater good. We seek not to change who you are but to offer a partnership that benefits all. Together, we can protect and preserve your traditions while ensuring a future of peace and prosperity." Serafina added, "We have seen the power of collaboration. By working together, we can achieve so much more than we could alone. Your wisdom and magical prowess would be invaluable assets to our kingdom." The peace talks continued throughout the day, with Rael and his advisors addressing the elves' concerns and outlining the benefits of the alliance. They spoke of shared resources, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense, emphasizing the potential for growth and stability. By the end of the discussions, Elenara and the Elven Council were convinced of Rael's sincerity and vision. They agreed to an alliance, formalized through a ceremony that highlighted the unity and respect between their peoples. The elves of Alaria joined the United Kingdom, bringing their wisdom and magical abilities into the fold. Buoyed by their success in Alaria, Rael and his delegation continued their diplomatic campaign, traveling to the mountain stronghold of the Stone Giants. The Giants, known for their strength and craftsmanship, had remained neutral, wary of becoming entangled in the conflicts of smaller races. The journey to the mountain stronghold was arduous, but Rael's determination never wavered. They were met by Thorgar, the leader of the Stone Giants, whose towering presence and deep voice commanded attention. "Welcome, Rael," Thorgar rumbled, his gaze steady and appraising. "Why have you come to our stronghold?" Rael met Thorgar's gaze with respect and determination. "Thank you, Thorgar. We have come to seek your alliance and to share our vision of a united kingdom where all factions work together for the common good. Your strength and craftsmanship would be invaluable assets to our realm, and we believe that together, we can achieve great things." Thorgar listened, his expression inscrutable. "The Giants have long valued their independence and strength. How can we be sure that we will not be overshadowed by the smaller races?" Rael replied, "Our coalition is built on equality and mutual respect. Each faction's unique strengths and traditions are valued and preserved. The Giants' contributions would be celebrated and recognized. By joining us, you will have a voice in shaping the future of our kingdom." Lysandra added, "The Giants' strength and craftsmanship are unparalleled. Together, we can build a future where your skills are not only preserved but also enhanced through collaboration and shared resources." The peace talks with the Giants were challenging, but Rael's sincerity and the compelling vision of a united kingdom gradually won them over. Thorgar and the Giants agreed to an alliance, formalized through a ceremony that celebrated their strength and unity. Rael's diplomatic efforts continued, with similar successes in other neutral territories. Each new alliance strengthened the kingdom, bringing additional resources, talents, and cultural diversity. The peace talks were not just about forming alliances but also about fostering mutual understanding and respect. Throughout the campaign, Rael emphasized the importance of inclusion and cooperation. Joint projects, cultural exchanges, and collaborative initiatives were launched to build trust and strengthen bonds. The success of the peace talks marked a significant milestone in Rael's vision of a united underworld kingdom, paving the way for a future of lasting peace and prosperity. As Rael and his advisors returned to Darkhold, they reflected on the journey and the alliances they had forged. The kingdom was now stronger and more united than ever, with a shared vision of a brighter future. Rael stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, looking out over the city. The realm he had dreamed of was becoming a reality, and he felt a deep sense of fulfillment and hope. With the support of his allies and the unity of his people, Rael was confident that they could continue to build a kingdom where all could thrive. The peace talks had brought them closer to that vision, and the future looked brighter than ever. With the successful initiation of peace talks and the forging of an alliance with the elves of Alaria, Rael's diplomatic mission continued with renewed vigor. The inclusion of the elves had set a powerful precedent, demonstrating the potential for unity and cooperation. Rael was determined to extend this spirit of collaboration to other neutral factions, solidifying his vision of a united underworld kingdom. The next destination on their diplomatic journey was the towering mountain stronghold of the Stone Giants. Known for their unmatched strength and unparalleled craftsmanship, the Giants had long remained isolated, wary of becoming involved in the conflicts of smaller races. Convincing them to join the United Kingdom would be a significant achievement. Rael, accompanied by Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak, embarked on the arduous journey to the mountains. The path was steep and treacherous, but their determination never wavered. As they neared the stronghold, they were met by a delegation of giants, led by their formidable leader, Thorgar. Thorgar stood at the entrance to the stronghold, his towering presence a testament to the giants' power. His deep, resonant voice echoed through the mountains as he greeted Rael and his companions. "Welcome to our stronghold, Rael," Thorgar rumbled, his gaze steady and appraising. "You have come far to speak with us. What do you seek?" Rael stepped forward, his demeanor respectful yet resolute. "Thank you, Thorgar. It is an honor to be here. We have come to seek your alliance and to share our vision of a united kingdom where all races and factions work together for the common good. Your strength and craftsmanship are invaluable, and we believe that together, we can build a prosperous future for all." Thorgar listened intently, his expression inscrutable. "The giants have long valued their independence and strength. How can we be sure that our way of life will be respected in this new kingdom?" Rael nodded, understanding the giants' concerns. "Our coalition is built on the principles of mutual respect and cooperation. Each faction retains its unique identity and traditions while contributing to the greater good. We seek not to change who you are but to offer a partnership that benefits all. Your contributions would be celebrated and recognized, and together, we can achieve greatness." Lysandra added, "The giants' strength and craftsmanship are unparalleled. By joining us, you will have a voice in shaping the future of our kingdom, ensuring that your traditions and skills are preserved and enhanced through collaboration." Thorgar considered their words, his expression thoughtful. The peace talks continued throughout the day, with Rael and his advisors addressing the giants' concerns and outlining the benefits of the alliance. They spoke of shared resources, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense, emphasizing the potential for growth and stability. As the discussions progressed, Rael sensed a shift in Thorgar's demeanor. The giant leader began to see the possibilities that unity could bring. By the end of the talks, Thorgar and the giants agreed to an alliance, formalized through a ceremony that celebrated their strength and unity. The alliance with the giants was a significant milestone, but Rael's work was far from over. He and his delegation continued their diplomatic campaign, traveling to the enchanted forests of the fairies, the underground cities of the dark dwarves, and the labyrinthine tunnels of the goblins. Each meeting presented its own challenges and required careful negotiation, but the message remained consistent: unity would bring strength, security, and prosperity for all. In the enchanted forests of the fairies, Rael and his companions were greeted by Queen Seraphina, a regal figure with shimmering wings and a commanding presence. The fairies, known for their magical abilities and deep connection to nature, had remained neutral, focusing on protecting their realm. Queen Seraphina welcomed them with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "You have come a long way to speak with us, Rael. What do you offer that would make us leave the safety of our forests and join your kingdom?" Rael responded with respect and sincerity. "Thank you, Queen Seraphina. We offer a partnership based on mutual respect and cooperation. Your magical abilities and connection to nature are invaluable, and we believe that by working together, we can protect and preserve your realm while contributing to the greater good." Seraphina's eyes softened as she listened. "We have seen the changes in the underworld and the strength of your alliances. But we cherish our independence and traditions. How can we be sure that they will be respected?" Rael assured her, "Our coalition values the unique identities and traditions of each faction. Your ways of life will be preserved and celebrated. Together, we can create a future where all our people thrive." The peace talks with the fairies continued, with Seraphina and her council asking probing questions and considering the benefits and risks. Rael and his advisors highlighted the successes achieved through collaboration, the potential for shared knowledge and resources, and the security that a united kingdom could provide. By the end of the discussions, Queen Seraphina was convinced of Rael's sincerity and vision. The fairies agreed to join the United Kingdom. Their alliance formalized through a ceremony that celebrated their magical heritage and commitment to unity. The diplomatic journey continued to the underground cities of the Dark Dwarves, led by King Drakkar, a stern and pragmatic leader. The Dark Dwarves, skilled in mining and metallurgy, had remained neutral, focusing on their own pursuits. Rael and his delegation were received with a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. King Drakkar's deep voice echoed through the underground hall as he addressed them. "Why should the Dark Dwarves join your kingdom, Rael? We have thrived on our own, without the interference of others." Rael met Drakkar's gaze with determination. "Thank you, King Drakkar. We seek not to interfere but to offer a partnership that benefits all. Your skills in mining and metallurgy are unmatched, and together, we can achieve even greater heights. Our coalition is built on equality and respect, ensuring that your traditions and independence are preserved." Lysandra added, "By joining us, you will have access to shared resources and knowledge, enhancing your abilities and ensuring your prosperity. The United Kingdom offers security and stability, protecting your interests and way of life." The peace talks with the Dark Dwarves were intense, with detailed discussions about trade, resource sharing, and mutual defense. Rael and his advisors addressed their concerns and highlighted the benefits of the alliance, emphasizing the potential for growth and collaboration. King Drakkar, convinced of the sincerity and potential of the alliance, agreed to join the United Kingdom. The alliance was formalized through a ceremony that celebrated their craftsmanship and commitment to unity. The final leg of the diplomatic journey took them to the labyrinthine tunnels of the goblins, led by Chieftain Grubnak, a shrewd and cunning leader. The goblins, known for their agility and ingenuity, had remained neutral, wary of becoming entangled in larger conflicts. Chieftain Grubnak greeted them with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "What makes you think the goblins would want to join your kingdom, Rael? We have survived by staying out of others' affairs." Rael responded with respect and determination. "Thank you, Chieftain Grubnak. We offer a partnership based on mutual benefit and respect. Your agility and ingenuity are invaluable, and we believe that together, we can create a future of prosperity and security for all." Grubnak listened intently, his eyes calculating. "We value our independence and cunning. How can we be sure that we will not be overshadowed by larger factions?" Rael assured him, "Our coalition values the unique strengths of each faction. Your contributions would be recognized and celebrated. Together, we can achieve more than we could alone, ensuring a future of prosperity and security." Chapter 28, Coronation. The unification of the Underworld was a monumental achievement, a dream that had become reality through Rael's vision, strategic acumen, and the unwavering support of his diverse allies. With the realm now united, it was time to celebrate this historic milestone by crowning Rael as the king of the Underworld. The coronation would be a grand event, symbolizing the unity, strength, and prosperity of the newly forged kingdom. Preparations for the coronation began weeks in advance. The Grand Hall of Darkhold, which had been the epicenter of countless councils and strategic discussions, was chosen as the venue for the ceremony. The hall was transformed into a magnificent spectacle, adorned with banners, tapestries, and symbols representing each of the allied factions. The colors and emblems of humans, orcs, dwarves, goblins, elves, giants, fairies, and dark dwarves filled the space, creating a vibrant mosaic of unity. Rael's closest advisors, Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak, were deeply involved in the preparations. Each brought their unique expertise to ensure that the event would be flawless and memorable. The coronation must reflect the unity and diversity of our kingdom, Lysandra said, overseeing the decoration of the Grand Hall. Every faction's presence should be felt and celebrated. Serafina, with her deep understanding of ceremonies and rituals, organized the sequence of events. We will include elements from each culture's traditions. This will symbolize our respect for each faction and the strength that comes from our diversity. Alistair coordinated the security and logistics, ensuring that the event would proceed smoothly without any disruptions. We need to ensure that everyone feels safe and welcome. Our allies must see this as a symbol of our strength and stability. Grushak, ever the warrior, took charge of organizing a grand parade and martial displays, showcasing the might of their united forces. This will remind everyone of the strength that comes from our unity. We are not just a kingdom of peace but one of strength and resolve. As the day of the coronation approached, leaders and representatives from all corners of the realm began to arrive in Darkhold. The city buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Inns and taverns were filled with visitors, and the streets were decorated with banners and flowers. Musicians and performers from different cultures entertained the crowds, creating an atmosphere of celebration and camaraderie. Rael himself felt a mix of emotions as he prepared for the ceremony. He reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment, from awakening in the body of Lord Aelric's son, Rael, and discovering his unique abilities, to facing countless challenges and forging alliances with diverse factions. The path had been long and arduous, but the vision of a united kingdom had driven him forward. On the morning of the coronation, the Grand Hall of Darkhold was filled with dignitaries, leaders, and citizens from across the realm. The air was thick with anticipation and excitement. The hall was a stunning sight, with its high vaulted ceilings, intricate carvings, and the banners of each faction hanging proudly. A grand throne, symbolizing the unity of the kingdom, had been placed at the center of the hall. Rael stood in his chambers, dressed in regal attire that had been meticulously crafted for the occasion. His robes were a deep royal blue, embroidered with silver and gold threads that depicted scenes of unity and prosperity. A cloak of rich velvet draped over his shoulders, fastened with a brooch that bore the emblem of the United Kingdom, a symbol of the diversity and strength of the realm. As Rael prepared to leave for the Grand Hall, Lysandra entered the room, her eyes filled with pride and warmth. "Are you ready, Rael?" Rael nodded, taking a deep breath. "I am. This moment has been a long time coming." Lysandra placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You have earned this, Rael. Your vision and leadership have brought us to this point. Today, we celebrate not just your coronation, but the unity and strength of our kingdom." With that, Rael made his way to the Grand Hall. As he entered, the assembled crowd fell silent, their eyes fixed on him. The hall was filled with a sense of awe and respect. Rael walked down the aisle, flanked by his advisors and representatives from each faction. The air was electric with anticipation. At the end of the aisle, a raised platform held the throne. An intricately crafted crown, symbolizing the unity of the kingdom, rested on a velvet cushion. The crown was a masterpiece, adorned with gemstones and engraved with symbols representing each faction. Rael ascended the platform and turned to face the assembled crowd. Serafina stepped forward, holding the crown. Her voice resonated through the hall as she began the coronation ritual, incorporating elements from the traditions of each faction. "Today, we gather to celebrate the unification of our realm and to crown our king," Serafina began, her voice filled with reverence. "Rael, you have shown wisdom, courage, and a vision for a united kingdom. As we place this crown upon your head, we affirm our commitment to unity, peace, and prosperity." Serafina placed the crown on Rael's head, and the hall erupted in cheers and applause. The sound was deafening, a powerful affirmation of their unity and shared purpose. Rael felt a surge of emotion as he looked out at the faces of his allies and citizens, each representing the diverse tapestry of their kingdom. Rael raised his hand, signaling for silence. As the crowd quieted, he began his first speech as king. "Thank you, my friends and allies. Today, we celebrate not just my coronation, but the unity and strength of our kingdom. We have come together from different backgrounds, cultures, and traditions, united by a common vision of peace and prosperity. Together, we are stronger. Together, we will build a future where all can thrive." The crowd responded with another round of cheers and applause. Rael's words resonated deeply, reflecting the hope and determination that had brought them to this moment. The coronation ceremony continued with speeches from key leaders and representatives, each expressing their commitment to the United Kingdom and their confidence in Rael's leadership. Cultural performances from each faction showcased the rich diversity of the realm, from elven dances and dwarven music to orcish martial displays and fairy enchantments. The celebration was a testament to the unity and harmony that had been achieved. As the day turned to evening, a grand feast was held in the banquet hall of Darkhold. Tables were laden with a sumptuous array of dishes, reflecting the culinary traditions of each faction. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses as leaders and citizens mingled, sharing stories and toasts to their shared future. Rael moved through the crowd, engaging in conversations and expressing his gratitude to those who had supported him. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment and hope as he looked around at the joyous faces of his allies and citizens. The realm he had dreamed of was now a reality, and the future looked bright. As the night wore on, Rael found a moment of quiet reflection. He stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall, looking out over the city of Darkhold, which was illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns and torches. The journey had been long and challenging, but the vision of a united kingdom had guided him through every trial. Lysandra joined him on the balcony, her expression filled with pride and warmth. "You did it, Rael. The kingdom is united, and the future looks brighter than ever." Rael nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude and hope. "We did it, Lysandra. This is only the beginning. With the strength of our unity and the commitment of our people, we will continue to build a future of lasting peace and prosperity." The Grand Hall of Darkhold buzzed with anticipation and excitement. The air was thick with the scent of fresh flowers and the sound of lively music. The coronation ceremony was about to begin, and the atmosphere was electric. Representatives from every faction in the realm had gathered to witness this historic event, each dressed in their finest attire, proudly displaying the colors and symbols of their people. The hall, adorned with banners and tapestries, was a dazzling display of unity and diversity. Rael stood at the entrance to the Grand Hall, taking a moment to steady himself. His heart pounded with a mix of anticipation and pride. Dressed in regal robes of deep blue, embroidered with gold and silver threads, he looked every bit the king he was about to become. The crown that would soon rest on his head was a masterpiece, crafted by the finest artisans from each faction, symbolizing the unity and strength of the kingdom. As Rael entered the hall, a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned to him, and the sense of awe was palpable. He walked down the aisle, flanked by his closest advisors, Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak. Their presence was a testament to the collaborative effort that had brought them to this moment. The weight of their journey, the battles fought and alliances forged, seemed to culminate in this one significant event. At the end of the aisle stood a raised platform with a grand throne. The throne was a magnificent sight, carved from ancient wood and inlaid with precious stones. It symbolized the strength, wisdom, and unity of the kingdom. The crown, resting on a velvet cushion, sparkled under the light, its intricate design reflecting the contributions of every faction. Rael ascended the platform and turned to face the assembly. Serafina, holding the crown, stepped forward to begin the coronation ritual. Her voice, clear and resonant, carried through the hall as she spoke the ceremonial words. "Today, we gather to celebrate the unification of our realm and to crown our king," Serafina began, her tone reverent and solemn. "Rael, you have shown wisdom, courage, and a vision for a united kingdom. As we place this crown upon your head, we affirm our commitment to unity, peace, and prosperity." With great care, Serafina placed the crown on Rael's head. The moment it settled, the hall erupted in cheers and applause. The sound was overwhelming, a powerful expression of support and celebration. Rael felt a surge of emotion, a profound sense of fulfillment and responsibility. He raised his hand to quiet the crowd, his heart swelling with pride and hope. "Thank you, my friends and allies," Rael began, his voice strong and steady. "Today, we celebrate not just my coronation, but the unity and strength of our kingdom. We have come together from different backgrounds, cultures, and traditions, united by a common vision of peace and prosperity. Together, we are stronger. Together, we will build a future where all can thrive." The crowd responded with another round of cheers and applause. Rael's words resonated deeply, reflecting the hope and determination that had brought them to this moment. He felt a deep connection to each person in the hall, a shared commitment to the future they were building together. The ceremony continued with speeches from key leaders and representatives, each expressing their commitment to the United Kingdom and their confidence in Rael's leadership. Lysandra spoke of the strategic brilliance that had led them to victory. Alistair recounted tales of bravery and unity on the battlefield. Grushak roared with pride about the strength of their combined forces. Each speech was met with applause, reinforcing the sense of unity and shared purpose. Cultural performances from each faction showcased the rich diversity of the realm. Elven dancers moved gracefully to ethereal music, their movements reflecting the harmony of nature. Dwarven musicians played powerful tunes on ancient instruments, their melodies resonating with history and tradition. Orcish warriors performed a fierce and energetic display of martial prowess, demonstrating their strength and discipline. Fairy enchantments filled the air with shimmering lights and magical illusions, captivating the audience. As the day turned to evening, a grand feast was held in the banquet hall of Darkhold. Tables were laden with a sumptuous array of dishes, reflecting the culinary traditions of each faction. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses as leaders and citizens mingled, sharing stories and toasts to their shared future. Rael moved through the crowd, engaging in conversations and expressing his gratitude to those who had supported him. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment and hope as he looked around at the joyous faces of his allies and citizens. The realm he had dreamed of was now a reality, and the future looked bright. As the festivities continued, Rael found himself on the balcony of the Grand Hall, looking out over the city of Darkhold. The city was illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns and torches, and the sounds of celebration drifted up from the streets below. He felt a deep sense of peace and contentment, knowing that the journey he had embarked on had led to this moment of triumph and unity. Lysandra joined him on the balcony, her expression filled with pride and warmth. "You did it, Rael. The kingdom is united, and the future looks brighter than ever." Rael nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude and hope. "We did it, Lysandra. This is only the beginning. With the strength of our unity and the commitment of our people, we will continue to build a future of lasting peace and prosperity." Chapter 29. Rebuilding and Reform. With Rael now crowned as king of the Underworld, the daunting task of rebuilding the kingdom began in earnest. The battles and conflicts that had led to unification had also left significant portions of the realm in disrepair. Cities lay in ruins, infrastructure was damaged, and communities were struggling to recover. Rael, ever the visionary leader, understood that the physical and emotional restoration of his kingdom was crucial for long-term stability and prosperity. Rael convened his council of trusted advisors to discuss the reconstruction efforts. Lysandra, Serafina, Alistair, and Grushak were present, each bringing their expertise to the table. "Our first priority must be to assess the damage and identify the areas most in need of rebuilding," Lysandra began, her strategic mind already mapping out plans. "We need a comprehensive plan that addresses infrastructure, commerce, and community restoration." Serafina nodded in agreement. "We must also consider the emotional well-being of our people. The scars of war run deep, and our efforts should include support for those who have suffered losses." Alistair, with his background in logistics and military organization, added, "We can mobilize resources and labor from across the kingdom. Each faction brings unique skills that will be invaluable in the rebuilding process." Grushak, ever the practical warrior, emphasized the need for security. "As we rebuild, we must ensure that our efforts are protected. There are still potential threats, and we cannot afford to be complacent." Rael listened intently, his mind already envisioning the unified efforts of his kingdom. "We will begin with a detailed assessment of the damage," he said. "Once we have a clear understanding, we will mobilize our resources and begin the reconstruction. This is an opportunity to not only rebuild but to enhance our kingdom, making it stronger and more resilient." The first step in the reconstruction process was to conduct a thorough assessment of the damage. Teams of surveyors, engineers, and architects from each faction were dispatched across the realm. These teams included dwarven engineers known for their expertise in construction, elven architects renowned for their elegant designs, orcish laborers with their unparalleled strength, and fairy enchanters who could use magic to accelerate the rebuilding process. As the assessments came in, a clearer picture of the damage emerged. Cities like Rivertown, which had been a focal point in many battles, required extensive rebuilding. Roads and bridges, crucial for trade and communication, needed repair. Public buildings, homes, and fortresses all showed the scars of conflict. Rael decided to start with Rivertown, symbolizing the kingdom's resilience and determination to rise from the ashes. He personally visited the city, accompanied by his advisors and a delegation of representatives from each faction. The sight of their king in the midst of reconstruction efforts was a powerful morale booster for the citizens. Standing before a crowd of townspeople, Rael addressed them with a tone of determination and hope. "Rivertown has been through much, but together we will rebuild it stronger and more beautiful than ever. This is a symbol of our unity and our commitment to a better future." The response from the townspeople was overwhelmingly positive. Inspired by Rael's words, they eagerly joined the efforts, working side by side with the diverse teams sent to aid in the reconstruction. The scene was one of collaborative effort, dwarven engineers directing the construction of new buildings, elven architects designing public spaces that blended seamlessly with nature, orcish laborers lifting heavy stones and timbers, and fairy enchanters using their magic to repair and enhance structures. The process of rebuilding Rivertown became a blueprint for the reconstruction efforts across the kingdom. Each faction brought their unique strengths to the table, creating a synergy that accelerated the restoration. Roads and bridges were repaired, facilitating trade and communication. Public buildings were reconstructed, providing essential services to the community. Homes were rebuilt, offering comfort and security to families who had endured so much. In addition to physical reconstruction, Rael and his advisors emphasized the importance of community and cultural restoration. Festivals, markets, and public gatherings were organized to bring people together, fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. Cultural exchanges were encouraged, allowing different factions to share their traditions and customs, enriching the fabric of the kingdom. One such festival was held in the newly rebuilt central square of Rivertown. It was a vibrant celebration featuring performances, music, and food from every faction. Elven dancers performed graceful routines, their movements echoing the harmony of nature. Dwarven musicians played powerful melodies on ancient instruments, filling the air with a sense of history and tradition. Orcish warriors demonstrated their martial skills in friendly competitions, showcasing their strength and discipline. Fairy enchanters delighted the crowd with magical displays, creating illusions and enchanting lights that captivated both young and old. Rael moved through the crowd, engaging with citizens and participating in the festivities. His presence was a powerful reminder of their shared journey and the vision that united them. He spoke with artisans, traders, and families, listening to their stories and concerns, and offering words of encouragement and support. In a speech to the gathered crowd, Rael emphasized the importance of unity and collaboration. Our strength lies in our diversity and our ability to work together. We have faced great challenges, but we have emerged stronger and more united. Together, we will build a future of lasting peace and prosperity. With the physical reconstruction of the kingdom well underway, Rael turned his attention to implementing a series of comprehensive reforms aimed at ensuring the long-term stability, prosperity, and justice of his realm. Recognizing that true unity and progress required more than just rebuilding infrastructure, Rael sought to create a fair and inclusive system of governance, foster economic growth, and improve the overall quality of life for all his subjects. Rael convened the newly established Council of Representatives in the Grand Hall of Darkhold. This council, composed of leaders from every faction in the kingdom, was a testament to the diversity and unity that had been achieved. The council's role was to assist Rael in making decisions that reflected the needs and desires of the entire kingdom. Our kingdom is built on the principles of unity, respect, and cooperation, Rael began, addressing the assembled representatives. To ensure lasting peace and prosperity, we must establish a system of governance that embodies these principles. Together, we will create a society where every voice is heard, and every citizen has the opportunity to thrive. The first major reform Rael introduced was the establishment of a bicameral legislature, consisting of two chambers, the Council of Elders and the Assembly of Commons. The Council of Elders was composed of respected leaders and elders from each faction, chosen for their wisdom and experience. The Assembly of Commons consisted of elected representatives from various regions, ensuring that the diverse voices of the kingdom were represented. The Council of Elders will provide guidance and wisdom in our decision-making process, Rael explained. The Assembly of Commons will ensure that the concerns and aspirations of our citizens are heard and addressed. This structure will balance tradition with progress, creating a system that is both stable and adaptable. The Council unanimously approved the creation of the bicameral legislature, recognizing the importance of inclusive and fair governance. This new system empowered the people and provided a platform for collaboration and dialogue, strengthening the bonds between the factions. Next, Rael focused on economic reforms aimed at stimulating growth and development. He understood that a strong economy was essential for the prosperity and stability of the kingdom. To achieve this, he introduced measures to encourage trade, support innovation, and ensure fair taxation. We must create an environment where trade can flourish and innovation is rewarded, Rael said. By fostering economic growth, we will ensure that our citizens have the resources and opportunities they need to prosper. Rael proposed the establishment of trade guilds, which would regulate and promote commerce within the kingdom. These guilds, composed of merchants, artisans, and traders from various factions, would work together to create fair trade practices, resolve disputes, and support economic development. The creation of trade guilds was met with enthusiasm from the council. Representatives recognized the potential for increased prosperity and collaboration. With the guilds in place, trade flourished, and the exchange of goods and ideas strengthened the bonds between different regions and factions. In addition to promoting trade, Rael introduced initiatives to support innovation and entrepreneurship. He established a fund to provide grants and loans to individuals and groups with innovative ideas and projects. This fund was accessible to all citizens, regardless of their background or faction, ensuring that talent and creativity were nurtured throughout the kingdom. We have a wealth of talent and creativity within our kingdom, Rael said. By supporting innovation and entrepreneurship, we will drive progress and create new opportunities for our people. Rael's economic reforms also included a fair and equitable taxation system. He recognized that taxation was essential for funding public services and infrastructure, but it needed to be implemented in a way that was just and sustainable. The new taxation system was based on the principles of fairness and transparency, with rates adjusted according to the wealth and resources of each region. The prosperity of our kingdom depends on the contributions of all its citizens, Rael explained. Our taxation system must reflect this, ensuring that everyone pays their fair share while also providing the necessary resources for public services and infrastructure. With the economic reforms in place, Rael turned his attention to social reforms aimed at improving the overall quality of life for his subjects. He prioritized education and healthcare, recognizing that these were fundamental to the well-being and prosperity of the kingdom. Rael proposed the establishment of public schools and universities, accessible to all citizens. These institutions would provide a comprehensive education, teaching not only traditional subjects but also fostering critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. Education was seen as a means of empowering individuals and creating a knowledgeable and engaged citizenry. Education is the foundation of a prosperous and just society, Heir said. By providing access to quality education for all, we will ensure that every citizen has the opportunity to reach their full potential. The council fully supported Heir's vision for education, and efforts to establish schools and universities began immediately. Teachers and scholars from different factions were recruited to create a diverse and inclusive curriculum, reflecting the values and traditions of the kingdom. In addition to education, Heir emphasized the importance of healthcare. He proposed the creation of a comprehensive healthcare system, providing access to medical services for all citizens. This system would include hospitals, clinics, and training programs for healthcare professionals, ensuring that the kingdom's population was healthy and well cared for. Healthcare is a basic human right, Heir said. By providing access to quality medical services, we will ensure the well-being of our citizens and create a stronger, healthier kingdom. The establishment of the healthcare system was met with widespread approval. Medical professionals from various factions came together to share their knowledge and expertise, creating a network of healthcare facilities that served the needs of the entire population. As the reforms were implemented, the kingdom began to experience a period of unprecedented growth and prosperity. Trade and commerce flourished, education and healthcare improved, and the sense of unity and collaboration strengthened. Heir's vision of a fair and just society was becoming a reality, and the kingdom was well on its way to achieving lasting peace and stability. Throughout this period of transformation, Heir remained a visible and active leader. He traveled across the kingdom, visiting cities and villages, listening to the concerns and aspirations of his people. His presence and engagement were a powerful reminder of his commitment to the well-being of the kingdom. One day, as Heir visited a newly established school in Rivertown, he was greeted by a group of children eager to show him their classrooms and share what they had learned. Their excitement and enthusiasm were palpable, and Heir felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he saw the impact of his reforms. In a small classroom, Heir sat with the children, listening to their stories and answering their questions. One child, a young girl with bright eyes, asked, "King Heir, what do you hope for the future of our kingdom?" Heir smiled, touched by the innocence and hope in her question. "I hope for a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, where we work together in harmony and respect, and where our kingdom continues to grow in peace and prosperity. This future is in your hands, and I believe in each and every one of you." The children cheered, their faces beaming with pride and hope. Heir's words resonated deeply, reflecting the values and vision that had guided him throughout his journey. As Heir left the school and continued his travels, he felt a profound sense of hope and determination. The kingdom was on a path to greatness, built on the principles of unity, fairness, and collaboration. The reforms he had implemented were creating a foundation for a future where all could thrive. The journey was far from over, but Heir was confident that with the continued support and unity of his people, they could overcome any challenges and build a lasting legacy of peace and prosperity. The foundation had been laid, and the future looked brighter than ever. Chapter 30. The Era of Peace. Under Heir's wise and just rule, the Underworld entered an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The comprehensive reforms and collaborative efforts implemented across the kingdom bore fruit, creating a harmonious society where all races could coexist and thrive. The kingdom, once fractured and war-torn, now stood as a testament to the power of unity and visionary leadership. In the bustling city of Darkhold, the heart of the kingdom, the streets were alive with activity. Merchants from different factions set up their stalls in the grand marketplace, offering a vibrant array of goods, from finely crafted dwarven weapons and tools to exquisite elven garments and jewelry, from robust orcish produce to delicate fairy enchantments. The market had become a symbol of the kingdom's diversity and the flourishing trade that had emerged under Heir's rule. The economic reforms introduced by Heir played a crucial role in this transformation. The establishment of trade guilds regulated commerce and promoted fair trade practices, resolving disputes and fostering cooperation among merchants. The kingdom's economy grew stronger with each passing day, as goods and ideas flowed freely between regions, enriching the lives of all citizens. One such morning, Heir walked through the bustling marketplace, accompanied by his trusted advisor Lysandra. The atmosphere was one of bustling energy and optimism. Citizens greeted their king with respect and admiration, grateful for the peace and prosperity he had brought. "Look around, Lysandra," Heir said, his eyes gleaming with pride. "This is the kingdom we dreamed of, thriving, united, and full of promise." Lysandra smiled, sharing in Heir's pride. "Indeed, Heir, the people are prosperous and the kingdom is flourishing. Your vision and leadership have made this possible." As they continued their walk, they encountered a group of children playing in the square. One of them, a young goblin boy named Grease, approached Heir with wide eyes and a shy smile. "King Heir," Grease said, his voice filled with awe. "Thank you for making our kingdom so wonderful. My parents say that we are safe and happy because of you." Heir knelt down to Grease's level, his expression warm and kind. Thank you, Greece. But this kingdom is wonderful because of all of us, every citizen, every faction working together. Remember, you are part of this great kingdom too, and your future is bright. Greece beamed with pride and ran back to his friends, eager to share his encounter with the king. Rael stood, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The kingdom's future was indeed bright, and the seeds of unity and cooperation were taking root in the hearts of its youngest citizens. Beyond the bustling markets and thriving cities, the reforms in education and healthcare were transforming lives. Public schools and universities, established across the kingdom, provided quality education to children from all factions. These institutions were places of learning and collaboration, where students were encouraged to think critically, create, and innovate. In the newly built Academy of Darkhold, students from diverse backgrounds gathered to learn from scholars and teachers representing every faction. The Academy was a beacon of knowledge and inclusivity, fostering a generation of informed and engaged citizens. One day, Rael visited the Academy to see the impact of the educational reforms firsthand. He was greeted by Headmaster Eldrin, an esteemed elven scholar, who led him on a tour of the facilities. "Welcome, King Rael," Eldrin said, his voice filled with respect and pride. "It is an honor to show you the fruits of your vision." Rael observed the students in their classes, young minds engaged in lively discussions, experimenting in laboratories, and collaborating on projects. The atmosphere was one of curiosity and enthusiasm. In one classroom, a group of students was working on a project to develop new agricultural techniques that combined orcish strength and dwarven engineering with fairy magic. The collaboration was a testament to the kingdom's unity and the innovative spirit that Rael had fostered. Rael addressed the students, his voice filled with encouragement. "You are the future of our kingdom. Your creativity and collaboration are the keys to our continued prosperity. Keep learning, keep innovating, and remember that together, we can achieve greatness." The students responded with cheers, inspired by their king's words. Rael felt a deep sense of pride and hope, knowing that the future was in capable hands. Healthcare, too, had seen remarkable improvements. The comprehensive healthcare system established by Rael provided access to medical services for all citizens. Hospitals and clinics, staffed by skilled professionals from various factions, offered quality care and advanced treatments. In the bustling city of Rivertown, the newly built General Hospital was a symbol of this transformation. The hospital, equipped with the latest medical technologies and staffed by a diverse team of healers, provided care to all who needed it. One day, Rael visited the hospital to meet with Dr. Kellen, a renowned dwarven healer who had been instrumental in establishing the healthcare system. King Rael, Dr. Kellen greeted him with a warm smile. "Welcome to the General Hospital. We are proud to show you the progress we have made." Rael toured the hospital, observing the dedicated work of the medical staff. He saw patients from all factions receiving care, their treatments reflecting the best practices of each tradition: elven herbal remedies, dwarven surgical precision, and fairy healing magic. In the pediatric ward, Rael met a young orcish girl named Brina, who was recovering from a serious illness. Her parents, filled with gratitude, thanked Rael for the healthcare reforms that had saved their daughter's life. "Thank you, King Rael," Brina's mother said, her voice choked with emotion. "Without this hospital, our daughter might not have survived. Your vision has given us hope." Rael knelt beside Brina, his eyes filled with compassion. "I am glad that you are recovering, Brina. Our kingdom is strong because of the care and support we give to one another. You are a brave girl, and I wish you a swift and full recovery." Brina smiled weakly, her eyes shining with gratitude. Rael stood, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The healthcare system he had established was not just about treating illness but about creating a community of care and support. As the kingdom continued to prosper, the Council of Elders and the Assembly of Commons played a crucial role in governance. These bodies ensured that the diverse voices within the kingdom were heard and respected. Representatives from every faction participated in decision-making, contributing their perspectives and expertise. The council chambers in Darkhold were a place of vibrant debate and collaboration. Representatives discussed policies, proposed laws, and worked together to address the kingdom's challenges and opportunities. Rael presided over these sessions, his leadership marked by fairness and inclusivity. He encouraged open dialogue and respected the wisdom of his advisors, fostering a culture of transparency and accountability. One day, during a council session, representatives from the Orcish and Dwarven factions proposed a joint initiative to improve infrastructure in the mountainous regions, combining Orcish labor with Dwarven engineering expertise. "This initiative reflects the spirit of collaboration that defines our kingdom," Rael said, approving the proposal. "By working together, we will continue to build a stronger and more resilient society." The council's approval of the initiative was met with applause, reflecting the shared commitment to progress and unity. Throughout the kingdom, cultural exchanges and festivals celebrated the richness of each faction's traditions. These events strengthened the bonds between communities, promoting mutual understanding and respect. In the capital city, the annual Unity Festival became a highlight of the kingdom's cultural calendar. The festival featured performances, food, and crafts from every faction, showcasing the diversity and harmony of the realm. Rael attended the Unity Festival with his advisors, participating in the celebrations and engaging with citizens. The festival was a vibrant display of the kingdom's unity, a testament to the shared journey that had brought them together. As Rael stood on the grand stage, addressing the gathered crowd, he felt a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. "Our kingdom is a tapestry of diverse cultures and traditions," Rael said, his voice resonating with hope. "Today, we celebrate our unity and the strength that comes from our collaboration. Together, we have built a kingdom of peace and prosperity. Together, we will continue to create a future where all can thrive." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices echoing through the city. The Unity Festival was a resounding success, reinforcing the sense of shared purpose and community. Under Rael's rule, the Underworld had entered an era of peace and prosperity. The kingdom was flourishing, its citizens united by a common vision and shared values. Rael's legacy as a wise and just leader was firmly established, his vision of a united and thriving kingdom realized. The era of peace under Rael's rule was marked by a deep sense of pride and accomplishment among the citizens. The Underworld, once plagued by conflict and division, had transformed into a beacon of hope and prosperity. Rael's dream of a united and thriving kingdom had come to fruition, and his legacy endured as a testament to the power of vision, leadership, and unity. As the Underworld continued to bask in an era of peace and prosperity, Rael's legacy as a visionary leader and unifier was firmly established. His reforms had laid the groundwork for a kingdom where every race, culture, and individual could thrive. Rael's leadership was marked by inclusivity, fairness, and a commitment to the well-being of all his subjects. However, Rael knew that for his vision to endure, he needed to ensure that the values and systems he had established were carried forward by future generations. To this end, Rael focused on mentoring a new generation of leaders who would uphold the principles of unity, fairness, and cooperation. He established the Academy of Leadership in Darkhold, an institution dedicated to training future leaders from all factions. The Academy's curriculum emphasized ethical governance, strategic thinking, and the importance of collaboration. One bright morning, Rael visited the Academy to address a group of aspiring leaders. The assembly hall was filled with young men and women from diverse backgrounds, their eyes full of hope and determination. As Rael stepped onto the stage, the room fell silent, the students eager to hear from their revered king. "Welcome, future leaders of our kingdom," Rael began, his voice resonating with warmth and wisdom. "You are here because you have shown the potential to guide our people and uphold the values that define our great kingdom. Remember that leadership is not about power, but about service. It is about making decisions that benefit all, and working together to create a better future." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. The students listened intently, their faces reflecting their admiration and respect for Rael. "You come from different backgrounds, but you share a common purpose. Embrace your diversity, learn from one another, and work together. The strength of our kingdom lies in our unity. As you move forward, carry this message with you. Together, we can achieve greatness." The students erupted in applause, inspired by Rael's words. His message of unity and collaboration resonated deeply, reinforcing their commitment to serving the kingdom. Rael's presence at the Academy was a powerful reminder of the values that had brought peace and prosperity to the Underworld. Beyond the Academy, Rael remained actively involved in the governance of the kingdom. He continued to preside over the Council of Elders and the Assembly of Commons, ensuring that the voices of all factions were heard and respected. His leadership style was marked by inclusivity and transparency, fostering a culture of open dialogue and mutual respect. One day, during a council session, a representative from the Goblin faction proposed a new initiative to improve agricultural practices across the kingdom. The proposal involved integrating traditional Goblin farming techniques with innovative methods developed by Elven botanists and Dwarven engineers. "This initiative reflects the spirit of collaboration that defines our kingdom," Rael said, his voice filled with approval. "By combining our strengths and working together, we can create a sustainable and prosperous future for all." The council approved the initiative with enthusiasm, recognizing its potential to enhance food security and promote environmental sustainability. The project became a symbol of the kingdom's ability to innovate and adapt, driven by the collective wisdom and expertise of its diverse citizens. As the kingdom continued to prosper, Rael's influence extended beyond his lifetime. He knew that his legacy would be carried forward by the systems and institutions he had established, but he also wanted to ensure that future generations understood the values that had guided his leadership. To this end, Rael commissioned the creation of the Hall of Unity, a grand museum and cultural center located in the heart of Darkhold. The Hall of Unity was designed to celebrate the history, culture, and achievements of all factions, showcasing the rich diversity that defined the kingdom. The hall's exhibits included artifacts, artworks, and historical documents that told the story of the kingdom's journey from conflict and division to unity and prosperity. Interactive displays allowed visitors to explore the contributions of each faction, highlighting the collaborative efforts that had brought about lasting peace. One of the hall's most cherished exhibits was the Great Tapestry of Unity, a massive tapestry woven by artisans from every faction. The tapestry depicted scenes from the kingdom's history, from the early days of conflict to the triumph of unity. It was a powerful symbol of the kingdom's journey and the enduring legacy of Heir's vision. Heir visited the Hall of Unity on its opening day, accompanied by his closest advisors and representatives from all factions. The atmosphere was one of celebration and pride, as citizens gathered to honor their shared history and achievements. In his speech to the assembled crowd, Heir reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. The Hall of Unity stands as a testament to our shared journey and our collective achievements. It celebrates the diversity that makes our kingdom strong and the unity that has brought us peace and prosperity. Let this hall be a reminder to future generations of the values that define us: unity, respect, and collaboration. The crowd responded with enthusiastic applause, their hearts filled with pride and gratitude. The Hall of Unity became a cherished landmark, a place where citizens could reflect on their history and draw inspiration for the future. As the years passed, Heir continued to guide his kingdom with wisdom and compassion. He remained a beloved figure, admired for his leadership and commitment to the well-being of all his subjects. His presence was a source of stability and hope, a constant reminder of the values that had brought peace and prosperity to the Underworld. In his later years, Heir began to gradually delegate responsibilities to the new generation of leaders he had mentored. He remained involved in important decisions and continued to offer guidance, but he also trusted the leaders he had trained to carry forward his vision. One evening, as Heir sat in his study, reflecting on his journey and the future of his kingdom, Lysandra entered the room. She had been his steadfast advisor and confidant throughout his reign, and her presence brought him comfort. "Heir, the kingdom is flourishing, and your legacy is secure," Lysandra said, her voice filled with pride and affection. "You have built a foundation that will endure for generations." Heir smiled, his eyes filled with gratitude. "We have built this kingdom together, Lysandra. It is the result of our shared efforts and the unity of our people. I am confident that the future is in good hands." As they sat together, reminiscing about their journey and the challenges they had overcome, Heir felt a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. His vision of a united and thriving kingdom had become a reality, and his legacy was secure. The era of peace under Heir's rule was marked by a deep sense of pride and accomplishment among the citizens. The Underworld, once plagued by conflict and division, had transformed into a beacon of hope and prosperity. Heir's dream of a united and thriving kingdom had come to fruition, and his legacy endured as a testament to the power of vision, leadership, and unity. As Heir looked out over the city of Darkhold, illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns and torches, he felt a profound sense of contentment. The kingdom he had envisioned was thriving, its citizens united by a common purpose and shared values. The future was bright, filled with promise and potential. With the support of his allies and the unity of his people, Heir had created a lasting legacy of peace and prosperity. The journey was far from over, but the foundation had been laid, and the path ahead was filled with hope. Heir's reign had ushered in an era of peace, and his legacy would continue to inspire future generations to build a kingdom where all could thrive.